It's weeks like this where I'm proud to be Canadian. Hello and welcome to The House That Happened, sponsored by Shoey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA, #1 in our hearts, the Phoenix rising from the ashes. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz, and I'm proud to be Canadian.
Are you sure? Are you just choking there?
No,
on
I
your
was
cigar?
just so prepared to emphatically be enthused about why I live in one of the greatest countries in the world, and I just wish people would believe me. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We're not for sale.
No.
We are not for sale. And that being said, the only other thing we'll put in that avenue of thinking is congratulate Doug Ford on his majority election in Ontario.
Congratulations.
Okay. At the House That Happens, we're just glad to be Canadian. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And shout out Mike Myers wearing a Canada's Not For Sale shirt at the end of SNL last night.
Off the charts. Off the charts. That's what being Canadian's all about. Remember, people, we got to find common ground. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
Got to find common ground if we're going to go anywhere. But that being said, other shout-outs.
How's your week?
My week was absolutely amazing because I went and actually took a tutorial. No, you know what? I'm dyslexic. So I have trouble. If you know anything about guitar, reading tab is supposed to be the easiest thing in the world. But I'm left-handed. I keep doing it backwards.
Oh, shoot.
So I found a song that came to me that I never thought I would play, and I actually looked at time that I figured out for a second where to go. So I'm probably 10% less prepared than I was last week for the show because I spent an extra 50% of my time with my guitar. How's that putting it? Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Besides that, it's all good. It's been cold. One of the things I've been telling people about is we've had a lot of snow in February. It's the most snow we've had in February of all time. So.
Oh, get out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just came up in the news. I seen on the last day. They said this is the heaviest snowfall, or since, I don't know. It's insane. But the snowfall of this February was of record proportions. So all I tell people is this. It's March now. That much closer to spring. Shovel your driveway. Help an old lady.
Hallelujah.
There you go.
And I mean, we were supposed to get a lot of snow, Thursday, Friday, and it didn't end up being that much. So
I'm tired of
thank God.
shoveling. And you know when you're out there and you're seeing people and you haven't talked to them for a while and you're doing shit, I want to ask you a question because I heard this coming up recently, and I didn't even know it was this kind of a subject because it never entered my mind. Do you shake people's hands when you see them? Or do you fist pump?
Depends who it is.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. I'm not aware of what I am doing because somebody probably does something and I just respond accordingly, but I don't have a conscious...
You do both.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're just leaving because, am I going to shake your hand every 10 minutes, bro? Come on. I know
sometimes you go in for the fist bump. Sometimes you go in for like the handshake hug thing.
Oh, yeah. All depends on, at the moment and how good we're doing. Like,
right.
If we scored a winning goal or something like that. But I don't consciously fist pump or handshake. But I understand it's still an issue in the world as an after effect of COVID.
Oh, interesting.
Because, the reason it's come up in a sports context, when they go through the line, are guys really shaking hands? Are guys not shaking hands? Then it looks like they don't want to shake their hand, and they do go a little fist pump, and then someone catches on the media and says, oh, see, that guy didn't like that guy because he didn't shake his hand. No, that guy's a freaking germaphobe. Let's cut to the chase on this. That's all. But they don't explain that on the TV. But anyways, I just thought it brought it up. It was interesting because...
So is that the Martin Brodeur excuse when him and Sean Avery...
I don't know about that. Okay, there's always an anomaly. Okay, and I haven't talked to Martin this week, so I'm not really sure about that. And I'm not sure how Sean would take a look at it. I'm sure he would say that he felt disrespected.
I think he did say that in the news.
Worse,
right
he said
after,
he was Sean Avery. Come on. But anyways, I just thought it was kind of humorous because things go around you so much in the world today, as we've been seeing, especially by the fascinating week that's happened in the world so far. There's just little things that go on like that. I guess because of retirement and not going out as much as I should. Things that people when I thought, is the handshake back? I went, what? And then I saw it, in context of sports, and I thought I'd ask your opinion, and I think your answer was not a fence sitter. It really is. Depends on the person and the situation.
Context sensitive.
Thank you. That's not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
My week was pretty good. I had dinner with Radhika and her family for the first time, so
That's cool. How did it go down?
very well.
That's good. It wasn't like a first date movie or any of that kind of nonsense.
No.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. To tell you the truth, I think that's a long time coming. Mrs. Milani, you're listening? Your son should have done that a long time ago. But you know what I mean? You're establishing a great foundation for the future.
Absolutely.
From a divorced guy. No, I'm joking. I've been with my wife forever now, so.
We'll get into shout-outs. First of all, a solemn shout-out to RIP to Gene Hackman.
Oh, boo.
Him, his wife, and one of his dogs passed away in, was it CO2?
No.
What?
No.
No? What was it?
We don't know.
Oh, they're not saying?
No. Dead 10 days.
Yeah,
Boo.
either way, tragic. Got to start with Bonnie and Clyde did moves like the French Connection. My generation, he's Lex Luthor from Superman.
Oh, I forgot about that character. He was amazing as Lex Luthor. Like when they were showing us highlights, I went, "Oh God, yeah, he was Lex Luthor." Unforgiven.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was epic.
Hoosiers.
What's that? Hoosiers. But I'm going to tell you this. One of my favorite roles he did was Clint Eastwood, and I just watched this movie about 6 weeks ago. Did you ever watch Absolute Power?
No.
Oh, my God. It is one of the best. Gene Hackman in that sneering, you don't know I'm the bad guy yet till you know I'm the bad guy role.
Right.
Opposite Clint Eastwood, who's a, what do you call those thieves that sneak in at the night? He's a real...
Like a cat burglar?
Yeah, he's that guy. Watch it. You've never seen the movie?
No, I never even heard of it, to be honest.
You never heard of Absolute Power? What a great movie. The other one that he was in, and it was also political, that I thought was outstanding, Enemy of the State.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Have not seen it, though.
Oh, I don't watch movies, bro.
You used to, though.
No, I catch ones along the way. I caught Absolute Power. I caught Enemy of the State. Okay, and I caught Red One.
Red One. Okay. Next Christmas, I'll check that one out.
Oh yeah, you do. But every once in a while, I've been trying to distract myself to look at other things. And one of the things that's caught me, Reacher, Jack Reacher,
yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah.
I read a couple of books and I always thought they were good. The first Tom Cruise movie with Jack Reacher, I thought was pretty good. Second one was kind of.
They made two?
They made two.
Oh.
But the thing about it, and I heard all the critics say, Jack Reacher was 6'5". He was a beast. So anyways, I went to sleep the other night, going to bed the other night, and I wanted to watch something completely different. And I flicked on, let's see what this Reacher guy is. That's Jack Reacher. See the size of the guy?
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Yeah, and this is sheer moralistic ultraviolence. That's what I will call if you like moralistic ultraviolence, watch Reacher. That's all I can say. But I'm just getting off track here because we were talking about Gene Hackman, and the reason I related to that is because the Enemy of the State, those twists and turns that you knew that could be going on in the world. And I was fascinated by Enemy of the State because I said, if they showed you that on TV, on a movie, what do they have that we don't know?
Fair enough.
Anyways, huge shout out to Gene Hackman because that little diatribe that we just had just lets you know how much we were entertained by such a great actor.
Absolutely. Another shout out to Diana Taurasi. She announced her retirement. 3-time NCAA champion, 2-time NCAA tournament MVP, 3-time WNBA champion, 2-time WNBA finals MVP, 2009 WNBA MVP, 11-time All-Star, and 10-time All-WNBA first team. Arguably the greatest women's basketball player of all time.
Number one. That's number one. Number two, in my heart of hearts, sometimes I wish she was 10 years younger because she helped to build what they have today, and she may not reap the benefits of the financial gains that she could have got at this point in time. Now, she did well for herself, don't get me wrong. But imagine now if she was like 25.
Yeah,
like
in the Caitlin Clark age.
Yeah, or what in and around there. Look at the money that's being thrown at these girls today. And none of them have even 1/100th of the resume of our first ballot Hall of Fame. Yeah, the house that happens, we'll start with her as a GOAT.
Yeah.
We'll look at her as a GOAT. I wish she got more. Go look at her highlight films. Look at her. I remember her in college. Amazing
With
player.
UConn, yep.
You got it. Yeah, one of the reasons they had one of those insane streaks that we probably not even broken or part of a streak that went on forever. The bottom line is most important thing is what she did to build the league.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that part. You know, you put your eyes on the league even back then before you weren't watching because of a talent that was that great. Huge shout out to her, and I hope the rest of her life is even better than the life she's already lived.
And she's of Italian descent, so extra shout out for that.
Okay, we're allowed to do that on the show? Okay. I'm all about that. I don't know when I'm going to use it, you know. I only have a dog.
I'm allowed to do it.
Well, you should. As well. I know where you live.
Big shout out to Brian Campbell for winning the 2025 Mexico Open. This makes it way easier for him. Or I guess he automatically qualifies for a bunch of tournaments now this year.
The reason I wanted to give him a shout out is because in the world of sports, we always hear about the greatness of guys. And the guy that he beat in the overtime, who I do believe is Italian descent, we're going to hear from him in the future because he's just a college phenom. And he doesn't have that many starts. This guy had 1,000 Corn Ferry starts, his last 8 starts, because he didn't have a PGA card even. Mm-hmm. He got exemptions to got into 8 tournaments before this, never made a cut.
Wow.
Suddenly wins the Mexico Open, won the lottery, all the elevated events, Masters, PGA.
U.S. Open,
I believe, and exemption for 2 years. That the reason I was so wanting to bring this guy up is there's something to be said about diligence, preservation, and working hard. You know, because sometimes if you go hard enough, strong enough, and believe in it enough, you're going to get there. Big shout out to this guy.
For sure. A little bit of a football shout out here. Travis Kelce will be coming back for the 2025 season. Not really a surprise to me. I don't know if it was for you.
I just think that what happens after you have a game like that, you got to go home and absorb it. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why it's scary to put a camera or a microphone in front of a guy within 24, 48 hours of going through something like that. Come on, we're human. It takes a few days to go, did I just take that ass kicking? So I just think that look at the guy had decent numbers last year. Okay.
Considering they're using him in blocking situations a lot more.
And like I said, his work ethic is second to nobody. So I think he's going to come back because I like any great athlete, he doesn't want to go out looking like that. That's all. And I'm glad he made the decision now so we didn't have to talk about it for a million years.
Well, the team was telling him, too, they wanted a decision by March,
yeah,
right?
because of the salary cap implications.
Well, and free agency and all that, right?
Free agency, yeah. So, because
free agency is like right around the corner.
Nowhere. Less than a month.
Yep.
Less than a month. But anyway, Kelce, I'm not a KC fan, but I respect greatness and looking forward to seeing you again next year.
For sure. Shout out to the LA Rams for sticking with their senses and keeping Matthew Stafford on the team after some rumors that he'd be going to either the Raiders or the Giants.
Kevin Pick, are you listening? You know me and Pick have a Stafford thing, right?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I'm aware.
Yeah. Okay, now that you are aware of such. Pick, did you hear that? They're keeping him in LA. You know why? McVay ain't stupid. Matt Stafford is a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback.
Amen.
I'm saying that to Kevin Pick.
Well, I know. I'm putting out there that I agree with that take.
Oh, no, by the way, Pick will be joining us with BOH for our preseason baseball show.
Stay tuned. That'll be at the end of the month.
Yes, it will be. But in any event, I'm very happy. I mean, look around this room somewhere and probably on the floor or hanging from somewhere, there is something of Stafford's around. You know, I love the guy. And I'm really glad. You know what it's done for me personally, even though I hate that he had to leave Detroit? I've seen him all these years, and he just didn't. Oh, he threw that pick six because he's a gunslinger and all that shit. You know what I mean? But the guy was such a gamer, you know, on shit teams that until he moved, and now look at his value. Most excellent. Huge shout out, and leave his wife alone.
For sure.
Leave his wife out of it.
Also, we have to note that Deebo Samuel was traded to the Washington Commanders yesterday for a 5th-round pick. So Jane Daniels got another toy to work with in the toy box.
I'm not happy with that.
Why is that?
He's in the same conference as who?
That's Detroit.
And guess who? What?
Yeah, but different division.
Doesn't matter. They got Deebo. Our offense looks okay. We're fighting over the same guy. Defensively.
Myles Garrett?
Uh-huh. Apparently, it's all I hear. But I mean, he shut it off. He's one of those guys now that said, "I don't want my negotiations to be in public." So it's all Ian Rappaport. What's his name? The guy, the Michigan man. They're all.
Oh yeah, on Schefter.
Schefter, yeah. They're all saying blah 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 because nobody's releasing information. But the two front runners seem to be the Lions and the Washington. If I was a Washington fan right now, I'd be ecstatic. And oh, by the way, the cap space that they still have left.
Woo!
And Detroit's right up there with them. So we either want him. It's going to be a decision on Garrett where he wants to go. Money's not going to be an issue for either team, especially with the jump in the salary cap.
Well, he's still got
they're
term
ripping
left on
that
his
up
trade, right?
with no guaranteed money.
Oh, okay.
So they're ripping that up.
No, but I'm saying Cleveland has some power in who they trade him to, though, right?
Oh yeah,
depends on who gives
the package.
Most, yeah,
the package. That's what it's going to be, and then Garrett can turn it down.
Fair enough.
He has that some. I don't know. I don't understand legalese sometimes. You know what I mean? But if you're a Washington fan, you should be doing some cartwheels because you made a huge stride and you're making more and got rid of Dan Snyder at the right time.
Yes. Do you have any shout-outs? I have 3 more.
Keep going.
Big shout-out to Jesse Marsh, coach of the Canadian men's soccer team, for ripping the President of the United States. Stand up for Canada despite being an American. And his comments make me want to walk back some of my Gretzky comments from last week.
Really?
Yes, because this is an American defending us. And meanwhile, Gretzky, since the criticism, I haven't heard from him saying that he's proud to be Canadian. I've heard Bobby Orr tell us. I've heard his wife tell us. I haven't heard him tell us anything.
Okay, so I'm gonna play Switzerland in this. How's that?
Boo.
I'm just knowing this. I think Gretzky is a great ambassador for his country, regardless of the current situation and what the media is manipulating and all that, or what he's obviously not done or obviously has done. But the bottom line is, you know the history of Wayne Gretzky. He don't say shit about nothing. The height of Stanley Cup, he came on. He was the one who invented cliche lines. Press conferences. Come on, this is Wayne Gretzky. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we as Canadians who can't seem to ever get it together on one issue of any kind, it becomes very polarizing, and I kind of feel bad for Gretzky personally. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you,
he made his mess. He made this mess.
There's my counterpart across the table. It's got to be interpreted that way if you're doing. But
the more you look at it, the more just weird shit there is. Like, he's giving the thumbs up to all the American guys. Doesn't do anything to the Canadian bench. Not even like a Canadian pin that he's wearing on his suit. Come on. This is the final.
Okay, I'm going to say that. I think that when they don't show the clip when they scored the goal in overtime, how big he jumped, did they?
I don't care how big he jumped.
He was all Canadian all the time.
Where was he when he was supposed to be on camera and doing his country proud?
Because he was hiding. He don't want to talk. He's in a press box. He was not. He had his own private thing. Because
no, I'm talking about when he before the game when he was on camera. The spotlight was on him. How did he handle that?
He looked nervous to me.
Couldn't have worn a Canadian pin? Couldn't have given the Canadian bench a thumbs up?
Did Mario Lemieux have a Canadian pin on?
It wasn't the final.
Oh. Okay. We will get back to the Gretzky.
Here's a good point, too, that someone told me.
What?
Not hockey people know who Lemieux is, but not everyone does. Yep. Everyone knows Wayne Gretzky.
Because he's a great ambassador for Canada.
No, hold on. It's more than that. It's just because of his superstardom and whatever. There's a certain responsibility that comes with that. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, and I don't think that he's completely ignored his responsibilities.
Well, the only time we seem to hear from him is when he endorses whenever conservative federal. We got to hear him endorse weak-ass Patrick Brown.
I say
that was the last time we heard from him. I remember.
Okay, so I will refrain from political commentary because everybody knows what I think of certain things. I don't know. I'd like to defend Gretzky as the history. He's my age, or a year younger, year 2 younger than me, and I've seen this guy his whole career, and I've seen everything that he's done. He's never really, okay, at times he stood beside certain political figures, but what sports athlete hasn't, okay? This is just that the times are completely different than we've ever had to deal with.
Stand up for your country.
I think he will.
No, we know why, because he's friends with that fucking asshole. Okay. We've seen him and his wife, his daughter, partied up at his resort.
So is a million other people.
Okay, well, they're not Canadian. And they weren't put there center stage to represent Canada.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is this then. Maybe Gretzky will do some things in the near future that will perhaps remind people what a great ambassador he is to Canada. But in my opinion, the reason we're talking about all this is because...
I don't think there will be anything that he'll do to remind us.
I hope that he does, but we're just going...
He's very Americanized.
You know, for a while I was too. I didn't realize it until you are. Okay, I'll be honest, but I grew up in Windsor, remember? The bottom line is, we are going through a time in the world today where we're seeing the tree being shaken as hard as it's ever been since probably World War II. And I don't know if it's good, bad, or ugly. It's probably a little bit of everything. But the end result is if you're anybody in a public place and you don't put your foot down here or here, the polarization is insane. You know what I mean? So I'm not, until Gretzky does something to highlight his belief in Canadians, I'll accept your however you want to look at it. Personally, I'm just going to say that he's done too many things along the way to show me that perhaps maybe he's a greater Canadian people are giving him credit for. That's all.
I don't know. I don't see him up here too much, but I digress.
Let's start. If we want to go there, let's see what Canadians that preach that they're Canadian all the time that never come to Canada.
This isn't a competition, though, so I don't want to get into that.
Okay.
This is about Gretzky.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it weirds me out, because it's Gretzky.
No, because I hate that when I hate this when people we worship Canadian people and they never talk whatever about Canada. I hate that about us. I hate that about our country.
Me too.
I hate that.
Me too. That's why I was going to bring out some of the people that do talk about our country and they don't do it in a positive way. Haven't lived in the country for 1,000 fucking years. That's what pisses me off. So I'm just saying that Gretzky's in the eye of the storm, and he's having trouble getting through the waves. But I'm saying
he doesn't seem to be doing himself any favors.
And I say that because my history says to me Gretzky won't say nothing. He'll wait till the dust settles. We'll wait to see.
That's fun. Shout out to Humber men's basketball. They'll be playing for the provincial gold medal today against the Durham Lords. The semifinals were yesterday at the Humber gym. I was lucky enough to call both semifinals.
Cool.
Yeah. Winner of the gold medal game today gets to go to nationals in Quebec. I believe Vanier is hosting.
Oh, really?
Actually, yesterday, the other semifinal between St. Clair and Durham, one of the best basketball games I've seen in my life.
Really? What was the score?
85-80. So the game, Durham had 2 dunks in the first 10-15 seconds to open up the game, and monster slams too.
Wow.
It was insane.
That's good to be there live.
It was a great game. And St. Clair and Durham, they always send a lot of fans. Durham went up by as much as 12 as 1 point. St. Clair came back, tied it up a couple times. But just some great baskets late. Stoop, the big white guy for Durham, was incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
So
4 3-pointers, had a couple of big slams. He had 5 blocks or something.
Was there a Windsor representative?
St. Clair always.
So they had a big representation there? That's really, really cool. Glad to hear that. Well, how many lead changes?
It was a lot.
It
was a lot.
That's usually the measure of a great game. You know what I mean? Great game. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. And when's the next game? Where are they going to now? To Vanier.
Vanier, if they win provincials today. That's in about an hour's time, I believe, or maybe a couple hours' time. Either way. And Humber women's basketball unfortunately lost in the gold medal game yesterday to Mohawk College.
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Can't win them all.
Yeah, it stinks too because we got men's and women's volleyball. Would have been nice to get men's and women's basketball.
That's what I was thinking, because you guys had a nice run going there. That's what I was hoping for. The house, hail to Humber.
Absolutely. You have any shout outs?
Not really. I'm just the only other shout out I want to probably give to is the all the people in the neighborhood that have been sharing the care, and I know there's probably only 2 of you that listen, but anyway, talking about the caring of our dogs' feet in this salt, wet, snow, freezing weather. And it's really cool that people just say, oh, have you done this with your dog? Have you thought about this? Because, a lot of people put the shoes on their dogs.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of cool. I want to shout out to those people for having a different type of care I wish we could transform to everybody that's human. That's all.
For sure. Anything else for the intro?
I can't think of any except for the fact that I can't wait till we talk to soccer because I'm confused about the offside thing again. But that's okay.
We'll get to that a little bit later, but for now, we will move it into the world of Formula One, where preseason testing concluded in Bahrain. It looks like McLaren is top of the pile once again. Red Bull, maybe not as strong. Max and a bunch of the Red Bull guys complained about some of the performance in there. I don't know what you thought of any of the testing. I don't know if you saw any of it.
I'm overstated in this thing.
Okay.
And first of all, I was not respecting the fact that you put the Coyote in a Red Bull frickin' thing to put on our site.
Oh, and the Red Bull soapbox derby?
I said, okay, Milani, I see what you're getting at here. And once I seen the Roadrunner come, I said,
what was I getting at? I just thought it was funny. It was a Looney Tunes thing.
I know, but when I seen Red Bull.
Oh, because Red Bull does a bunch of cool shit like that.
Yeah, but as soon as I seen the Coyote in that Red Bull, I went, this is not going to turn out well.
And it did not.
Now it's hilarious, to tell you the truth.
I hope that guy was okay.
Oh, yeah. It probably was. That had to be a stunt man.
I would think.
The crack, come on. Look, he's around the corner. Looks like he's going to. Oh! And you know what? Even the way the Coyote looked in it was badass. Like, you know what? Like.
Yeah, it was well designed.
Very well designed. You know, I laughed my ass off, to tell you the truth, but you put Red Bull in it with it. I said, yeah, Milani, Ferrari, I get it. Okay?
I think you're looking a little too deep into that. That was not the intent at all.
Okay, I'm just saying, it was a coincidental.
I like a bunch of stuff Red Bull does, just simple as that.
Yeah, no.
They used to do that crashed ice.
I'm so glad you posted it, because I probably wouldn't have run into it, and I laughed my ass off. I thought, anyone that hasn't seen it, just see it because of the element of Coyote trying to get through a race.
Oh, exactly.
That's really cool. But I found a number of things fascinating about this F1 because I want to be more learned about the sport. So one of the things that I was saying is I don't think McLaren is necessarily the leader. I don't think Mercedes is necessarily the leader. I don't think Ferrari's necessarily the leader. I do believe Red Bull's got some work to do. However, what has fascinated me is the little nuances that these teams are going through to perfect their cars. One of them that really fascinated me is like, which one was it? I got my notes down here. I should put it down here. Oh, is this the right page? Oh, wait, got the wrong page. In any event, one of the things that fascinated me is the amount of laps that they put these cars through during the time.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, like what was it? They were showing some of these guys. Alpine, 405 laps. Haas, 457 laps. How many races is that? I went around. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Red Bull could only get about a little over 300 in. That's the sign where, you know, we're saying like...
Well, that was a big problem with Alpine last year was that they weren't able to get a lot of laps in testing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And they were behind the 8 ball from day one. They did a little bit catch up at the end, but...
No, that fascinated me because now that I'm trying to get more into the minutia and the nuances of the game, I actually turned it on. I went to the F1 site and I started looking what was going on. And I'm saying that this is like science and stealth all in the same place at the same time. Everybody's watching you and you're trying to hide everything. And the amount of laps, like alone, Lewis Hamilton freaking rode 5 races in this thing. You know what I mean?
I love that he's back to the yellow helmet, too.
Yeah, no, he's there. And I didn't know another thing about is that the steering wheels in the cars are somewhat different. I thought that was all standardized.
No, every team can have their own, basically. So, like, Haas has the same one as Ferrari. They just buy it off them, I know.
But, I mean, I was fascinated by that. What, they got a different steering wheel? What happens when they go to the simulator? Do they get the simulator Ferrari steering wheel, the simulator Mercedes wheel?
Well, it's their simulator, so they probably just put their steering wheel in there.
So that would all be on the game, right? Because simulators are huge in this. You know, like if he put 350 laps on, or no, whatever it was, he didn't put 350 laps on, but Lewis Hamilton did about 5 race worth of. He was, for a guy of his stature, he probably did the most laps. And they say it's a lot.
He's getting used to the new car, right?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. But I mean, what I'm getting at is if he did that many laps on the field, how much time is he spending on the simulator? Oh. I can't possibly imagine. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that's why I can't say McLaren is a number 1 front runner, because they were like not the most, they weren't the least. So does that mean they were satisfied? I don't know.
What, in terms of how many laps they put in?
No, the performance of their car.
Yeah, okay, but there you got to take those numbers with a grain of salt because you don't know what fuel loads they got. You don't know what engine modes they're running. You don't know what their testing program is, right? Everyone's got different stuff. Haas was on a very different program than everybody. I think they were running much higher fuel loads than everybody else. But still, there's a level of nuance here where you can't just like Carlos Sainz put up the best time in total out of anyone in the Williams. Does that mean anything? Exactly?
Yeah.
Also, you like tire compounds too. You don't.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You gotta think of all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that all came up too. But that's my point. I can't really believe that any of these guys are. Just because you did this here automatically makes you the front runner to start the first race when they start off.
Well, with testing,
I would bet you on you, like the odds are from the numbers I've seen and how I've watched enough the testing would say, okay, I think Red Bull has a little bit more problem than McLaren because obviously they couldn't get the car on the track as much as they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
I would just say with testing, the things you gotta read into like body language, the answers that the drivers and the engineers and the team principals give you. Just like stuff like sometimes you got to dig into it a little bit. Like Ferrari, they didn't run their whole program. I think they had a little bit of problems, so they kind of fell behind a little bit. I still think they're in decent position, but Red Bull, no one was happy on their team.
None. Okay, so I'm glad you gave me that little preamble because this is the thing that blew me away. What's vis-a-vis paint? Did you see that? This blew me away where I'm saying, people, if you never watch F1, you want to know what these mofos go through their car? They sprayed the paint on the car. The car takes off, and the aerodynamics and the physics takes over, and the paint reads how it's going on the car. So they could take it into the computer. That's next level insanity.
Hell yeah.
Okay, now they did that. When I was watching them do it at first, I go, why are they painting the car on the side of the track? What kind of moron shit is this for there? As soon as the car came into the thing, the whole team came out and gave a human shield around the car because the photographers were coming in. Everybody's trying to get a shot. Guys were getting bullied. There's a couple reachers out there looking at fucking the photographers. This was a mad scene. I just went, this is totally blowing my mind in this respect. They were the only ones that were doing this. So they're not going to reveal their house secrets.
Nope.
What do they got to do? They got to put in it. This is a human wall, bro. You didn't see it?
No,
Go
I missed
online,
that.
check it out. It was really cool. The car looked cool when they sprayed it on, and when the car came back in, you could see how the paint, because it looked like the guy just took a cup and just poured paint on the car, and it poured it on here. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of coyote Acme bullshit is this going on here? Then the car flipped, went around the track. They raced in, and then I seen all these people running out by the car, and I thought, oh God, what's wrong? Something happened to the car? And they all got up and blocked the car, and all I could see is photographers, because this is what's wrong with sports. These scumbags were trying to get an angle on the car so that they could get a picture that they could sell to Red Bull, sell to Mercedes, sell to Ferrari. This is something out of a Ludlam book.
Oh, don't you remember a couple years ago when one of the Red Bull cars was being towed up and they were upset because everyone was just taking pictures of like the undercarriage and the below part of the car?
That's what I'm saying. This stuff is like, this is James Bond shit. You know what I mean?
Welcome to F1.
No kidding. But I mean, I'm really glad because I didn't really pay attention last year. I'm paying attention more and more. So when I heard about this was going on, I did a little bit of reading. I understood what they were going to do. And I said, okay, let's go see what they're actually doing. And then I watched and then I started reading and then I started saying, that's where I came to the conclusion that Red Bull's got a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Obviously, how all the other teams went about their business, and this is what they did. And I understood, like you said, with Haas, that whole new thing, that's why they were whacking the laps out like they possibly could. Lewis Hamilton was going there. But what really impressed me about all of this, not just that little paint job, because that was insane. That opened my eyes to a whole new, wow, this stuff is serious. Like, these guys don't let house secrets out, I'll shoot you or some shit. I don't know. But one thing we should point...
Probably blacklisted.
Whatever the case may be, they're all TMZs type mofos. Right. Okay, fuck you. But the thing that we all talked about the last show that I was super impressed with, and we were talking about at the bar the other night, 20 seats. Or is it 22?
20.
20 seats in F1, people. One guy's 18 years old. Did you see his performance in the Mercedes?
Kimi? Yeah.
Wow. And he did his 150 laps or whatever. No incidents, no problems, no brush ups, no spin outs. No, just a kid that got in the car and said go. And George Russell was even better, which must bode well for Mercedes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's how I looked at it. I said, okay, I'm going to see what Mercedes is doing. I'm just interested. 18-year-old kid? This is prodigy. This is Bedard shit.
Well, Lando and Max were in F1 around the same age.
Was Max in that early?
Yeah, he was. I think younger. I think he was like 16, 17 when he got his seat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why he's a prodigy.
Yeah.
That's why
well, now they changed it where he can't, because he was in F1 before he had an actual driver's license, and they changed the rules because of him.
Look at his family.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were saying. Another thing people don't understand, the drivers in 25 years from now are just being born.
Yeah, basically.
And we already know the strains of people they're probably going to be born from, unless you're like Stoll and your daddy buys you a car.
Well, those are the people that are going to get those seats.
But that the lineage factor, that's why you got to respect Lewis Hamilton, the way that he didn't quite have all the advantages of everybody else, but he's a great driver. But the lineage in F1 is very fascinating too, to me personally, when you see the strain that goes back. But yeah, it was a very interesting week. I'm looking forward to the race.
March 16th.
Yes, you got it. And not only that, I want to just point out to all of us, because maybe the show should be called We Are Not Political. Okay, but in any event, look where all of these events are going on, people. So when you have some righteous indignation about what goes on in the world, we know where's all the testing, where's the first race, and a couple more to go. Some days we're going to have to get over that, or we're going to have to just say, forget it. Let's just watch it for the sports that it is, because it keeps creeping into the conversation all the time, and nothing's going to change.
No, absolutely not. I'm just going to give a quick power ranking of the teams at the end of testing, just based on what I've seen and what I've read and what I've listened to.
I don't believe you.
Power rankings?
Go ahead.
Well, I think I'm going to make some sense. You'll see. Number 10, Sauber. The awful, by far the worst.
San Jose. Anaheim.
San Jose and Chicago combined.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, my God. They made a mess of the testing. Like, what's going on there?
They're waiting it for next season when they're outie. Because right now it just seems like, fuck it.
Let's try this.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I noticed, I read about them. They got bashed everywhere. Continue, sorry.
Number 9, Aston Martin. They are just going with the plan to hopefully upgrade the car, hoping that Adrian Newey can work his magic, because he will not be able to start working on the car until, I believe, this month.
Another weird rule?
Yeah, I agree.
Weird.
Well, it was because of his Red Bull contract.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's just the way it was. They're another one of those teams. I think they're going to be waiting for the new rule regulations when Newey can actually work on the car.
Yep.
But for now, they'll use the word potential, but I'm going to say not good enough.
His name came up when they were talking about where they're going to go. Interesting. Good.
Well,
point.
It's a big point against Red Bull as well, but I'll get to that later. Number 8, Haas. I don't think they're terrible. I actually think they can hang with some of the midfield teams ahead of them. It's just there's still a lot of question marks there. Their new relationship with Toyota, how's that going to factor into the car development and all that? They do have a good driver lineup. I think there is a chance for them to move up, but for now, I think there are other teams that are better than them for now.
They got a couple good drivers.
They do indeed. Number 7, I got Racing Bulls, aka Red Bull 2.
Yeah.
So based on last year, a very successful year. They're bringing in Hadjar, a little bit of an unknown. I think he was rushed that seat a little bit, but I mean, they're still working with Red Bull. I think they should be solid. I don't know if they're going to be as good as last year, but I mean...
Chance at a podium?
Things really have to break their way.
Okay.
Number 6, I got Alpine, looking much better than they did last year. Jack Doohan is a big question mark, but even if he goes down, they got the Argentinian kid, right?
I think they could steal a podium.
They stole 2 last year.
That's what I'm saying. And they seem to have improved.
Yes.
They were out there like crazy. They were the ones what they have 400 and whatever laps. They were fine tuning their car. And that young driver out there too. They say another reason they were out there long, because this is his first year.
First year, yeah.
Yeah, so that's another reason he was out there.
And we love Pierre Gasly. So.
Oh, he's one of my favorites, man. You know, and I text him a strain. Okay, try this one, buddy. Might be good when you're driving.
Number 5, we got Williams. They put up the best lap on the track. Their driver lineup is much improved over last year. I like what James Vowles is doing with that program. Can they maybe steal a podium or two this year? I think that's very much in the question, or very much in the cards, if they're able to get that car development up there. Last year was a little bit of could be like one of those like one step forward or, two steps back, whatever it is. One step back, two steps forward thing. So last year the car was more consistent. I think they could build off that and maybe steal a podium or two.
In my research, they're considered the team that's the one most improved.
Yeah.
They're like in 2 or 3 places I went, they were called that they possibly could be the most improved team in 2025. We'll have to wait and see.
Number 4, I have Red Bull. It does not look like they've improved on the car that all much from last year. A lot of that probably to do with, and car development's going to be hurt too with them having to borrow from this year's funds to improve last year because of all the crashes Sergio Perez got into. We've seen them complain about the car a lot, so I think it might be tough for them to hang with the top 3. And Liam Lawson, a big question mark there. We know what number 2 drivers have struggled behind Verstappen because of the way he likes the car. He likes it really sensitive. Other drivers have struggled to hang on to that. I'm not the most confident in him.
The word around the campfire is Red Bull could reach the pace. It's the maintenance of the car and the handling. I don't understand that. Something about
they could qualify well, but like in the race they're going to fall back.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Like they could get out of the gate and get up there, but they're saying that because like Max has already been saying we got some handling problems. That means that the car is not ready to go.
He's had a rare spin out in testing too.
Yes, he did. I was wondering if he was just trying to max the car out.
Even so, we don't see that from him too often.
No, but that was also there was a little bit of inclement weather at that time. Remember that? Like they stopped. Remember because there was some rain and some bullshit that went on. So a couple guys went out there at senior time. So if you do check when Max spun out, I do believe that the track you're allowed to go out there.
Right.
But it probably paid a little bit just because I'm a Max guy and I'm going to defend him.
Number 3, I got Mercedes. It looked like they were a little bit back of those top 2. It appears they've closed the gap a little bit. I still think there's some question marks about that. Big question is how Andrea Kimi Antonelli is going to handle all the pressure and what the top cars in F1 and how's Russell going to do as a bona fide number 1 driver.
Well, I look at it this way, okay? Doing testing and practicing is a whole lot different than when the green light goes on.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to wait and see.
Number 2, Ferrari. They didn't get through the whole program like they may have liked, had a little bit of problems, but overall, I would argue they have the best driver lineup in Formula 1. I love what Fred Vasseur is doing with this program, but I could not put them number 1. Obviously, that's safe for McLaren. Things have seemed to go picture perfect for them through testing. You could argue that they have the best driver lineup as well. Lando and Oscar both look fantastic, and I imagine they're going to build on last year.
I just hope they improve their track maintenance, so to speak. Because I'm not completely sold on McLaren yet. It just seems too comfortable to me. You know what I mean? And Zach Brown talking up everybody else. I'm just going, who is this guy? You know what I mean?
That's weird.
I was entertained by him for a long time. But after last season, I have to go, sometimes that talk got you in a little bit of trouble, or perhaps maybe your track maintenance cost you a lot. So I hope on a team level, that's why I'm questioning McLaren. Always things seems to come up with these guys. Even how many races last year where they were the car and what happened. So I think they have to get over that kind of bullshit if they're going to be the dominant team that they think they are. But I don't think they're going to be that dominant. I think the top 3 that you said there's going to be, we'll see after the first race, but this is going to be dogfight season.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's going to take 4 or 5 races, I think, to 100%. Really get like a good idea of what's going to go on there. But for now, that's my top 10 power rankings, how I'm viewing it going into the season, at least for now. I could give another one. I'm probably going to have like an official prediction before we get to the season. But
so where are we at now? So we start in Australia, we go to Bahrain, right?
I believe so. They changed up the calendar a little bit this year.
A little bit, right. But
I love that we're starting with Australia, though.
What's that?
I love that we're starting with Australia.
Other side of the world. So that's what I'm saying. Then
it's a great track, too.
Yeah, and they a lot of money put into that track, I understand. That's why that's a place that they were saying, and I don't know if this is true. You help me out. They say the tires that you could be using in there, and which track do you like, Australia?
Yeah.
They were saying that because of the maintenance and the way that they've taken care of that track, those tires might not work a week later in Bahrain or whatever. I don't understand that.
It's always different tires that they use. Like it's Pirelli that decides, right? So
Well, I'll learn more about that as we go along. Sometimes when they talk about that shit, I'm compound and weight, heat, track, texture. I should have spent more time in chemistry class.
Anything else for Formula One?
No, but I'm really looking forward to the season, as you can see.
All right, we'll move this on to the world of college basketball. It's the race to the conference tournaments and March Madness. Any teams or players you want to keep an eye on heading into the dance?
Okay. Listen, we're going to do that in the next week, and I started to get a list together because there's about 8 or 9 dogs out there that we all should be talking about because we are going to see them when the tournament comes up, but that'll be for next week. What has really got me freaking thinking now is I've been shooting my mouth off about this SEC and what's been going on inside their conference. My God, yesterday, Tennessee beat Alabama in their house. That's 5 and 6 in the country on a 3-pointer from the fairway. That's how tight this was. And then there was other times here where like some teams that were supposed to be in the SEC making something, Kentucky just got slapped. I think Arkansas is going out of there. My whole talk about this is
Tennessee, very veteran team. So I started my research.
Yeah, they are.
So what I'm doing for my March Madness research is I'm looking at the top 6 players on each team. So like the starters and like your best bench guy. And I'm just looking at like who's a junior, who's a senior, all that.
Excellent.
Tennessee, 4 seniors, 1 graduate student, 1 junior in their top 6.
And the guy coming off the bench is a freshman that's a dynamo. They have 1 freshman dynamo. Mm-hmm. So that always adds up there. But then if you look at their competition, Alabama, what's their lineup say?
Alabama.
Yeah, they're there too. But
they have a freshman, 2 sophomores, and 3 grad students.
And 3 grad. They say that is the ultimate combination. To have little of both, because those 3 young guys on Alabama, they're going to keep them there. They are dogs, but
that's my big worry about Duke because they have 4 freshmen of their top 6.
4 of the best freshmen in the country.
Teams like that don't tend to go far, though.
I disagree. Let's talk about the Fab Five.
Okay, they're the exception to the rule.
Jason Tatum, the year he was in, the year Anthony Davis was in, 3 top recruits, and you never know. It's the chemistry of the team. They don't coach. They don't have Coach K. This coach is pretty good. I forget his name. But I will give you this. They're vulnerable to pressure. And when they're playing 2 guys that have been there a lot longer, I'm going to concede your argument.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying Duke's going to be eliminated in the first weekend. But once you get to Sweet 16, Elite 8,
they're going to be
then there's upset alert there.
Oh, 100%. I'm not going to deny that because what they might have to run into is one of those SEC dogs.
Exactly.
That had that competition that they didn't get all year because the ACC is kind of, I don't even know how many bids. I was thinking about it here. The only one that's really competing with the SEC is the Big Ten. Like those guys have really risen up.
Michigan State, Illinois,
Wisconsin.
Right? No.
Wisconsin's in there. Purdue has fallen off the cliff a little bit, but they're still respected. So what I'm saying is we said before the show, all the at-large picks, I'm really fascinated this year where it's going to go due to the strength of the SEC alone because they're getting a bag load of teams in. So, which gets me to this thing here. Gonzaga and St. Mary's, neither one of them are in the top 25 right now.
St. Mary's is 23rd.
Oh, they're 20. Well, they're falling out this week, I do believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so in any event, then you have to go this whole thing we said.
Well, St. Mary Gales, or is that a different school than what
that's the one. They're number 1 in the conference.
They've won their last 7, though.
Did they?
Yeah.
Didn't they lose last night? Did they come back?
It says here that... Yeah, they beat Oregon State last night.
What was the final?
74-64.
Oh, they did. I was falling asleep watching the game. That was a dogfight till the end, and they pulled it out. Good for them. Anyways, I'm getting back to my theory.
This is the end of regular season. Conference tournaments start next weekend, right?
No, they have the. There's one more regular season game. For some conferences, yes. Some.
Oh, yeah, because St. Mary's, that's the end of their schedule.
Yeah, the same thing. And congratulations to Rick Pitino and the St. John's Redmond for winning their conference. So it looks like
Duke, North Carolina is next Saturday. So.
Then they start in the middle of the week after that. But back to my theory about coaches. Rick Pitino got a little money, got his gangsters together in New York. St. John's is back on the map, and I will be keeping a close eye on them. Whoever suddenly ranked number 7. Remember what a month ago I said? You don't beat the horse here. You get him ready, and you come down the stretch. St. John's has looked good.
When was the last time that program was relevant, in your opinion?
Oh, since they decided that too much money was coming in the back door, and you can't be doing that.
Like, when was that? Like, 90s?
40 years ago last time they made the Final Four. Wow. With Chris Mullen,
Yep.
Washington, who else?
I've said this before on the show. I'll say it again. Requiem of the Big East, one of the best 30 for 30s.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Great
And
one.
That was in the day, though. The Big East was the Big East.
Georgetown, St. John's,
Providence, Villanova,
Syracuse.
Just go on. It was a great conference. They showed up every tournament, and the history has shown that. What I find about the Big East this year is, because I'm going to beat this horse to death, is because of the strength of schedule down there in the SEC, some of these Big East teams are going to be sitting on the bubble, including Connecticut. They better have a run.
That is nuts just how far they've fallen off this year. Because remember early in the season, I was like, they're getting a lot of losses. And you're like, it's early.
No, I've seen them play. You know what? He'll keep all those guys there, and he'll be right back next year. That's what I think they're going to do. But you know how hard it is to win 3? You know how hard it is to win 2 in a row?
I get that. I'm not taking away from their last 2 years.
3 in a row?
But if we're looking at right now, UConn's in trouble.
I think so too. But I think they'll get in the back door because of their schedule and reputation once they get in the room and decide that wild card.
So what, 4 teams from the Big East then?
I can only see that. You know, the forward, St. John's.
St. John's, Marquette, Creighton. Creighton's in for sure.
Oh, yeah, Creighton's going to be there. Then the fourth one would have to be UConn. And look at their record and look at their strength of schedule and look at some of the teams they've lost to. Now you're going to look at that 7th place team in the SEC, say it be Mississippi State, and you see their 4 losses were to Tennessee, Alabama, and Auburn, as opposed to some of the losers that Connecticut lost to. And that's got to play into the tournament if they're going to give us the integrity that they've talked about for 1,000 years. So it should be very interesting. By next show, though, I've got a list now, but I'm going to have about 10 guys you got to watch. Couple guys on Alabama, and the team that you really got to look out for, people, because this program hasn't moved anywhere, is beware of Houston.
Yeah, they're another team.
I don't care what they're going. I wish we were in the SEC. Like, that team is serious. That's the one I have the outside looking in.
Yeah, Houston, they're kind of like Alabama. So 1 sophomore, 2 juniors, 3 grad students.
Yeah, they're rocking there. Now, here's what's happening over that period of time, though, when you think about it. Remember way back when we first had our report, I was all about Iowa State. Because they're going to come up there. They fell off the cliff, and they're coming all the way back. But that's going to tell me they're going to get in the tournament. There's no doubt about that. I'm fascinated.
3 seniors of their top 6.
You got it. And I'm saying, okay, so maybe they had a little bit of slump. I'm wondering where their seeding is going to be, because that'll be interesting. Say the seeding came up and it was like Duke against Iowa State in the round of 16, like theoretically, if that were to happen. Ooh, I might be thinking about Iowa State in that game when you're upset alert. You know what we're talking about? Because it's almost...
We'll see. Iowa right now looks like they're going to be a number 3 seed.
Possibly a number 4.
But if they're number 4, then it's possible for them to play Duke, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
If you look at the brackology, though, I've looked at them once a week for the last 3 weeks. It changes like you change our underwear. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just been crazy. But the consensus number 1's Auburn and Houston should be number 1, followed by Duke. The 4th number 1, I'm not really. We'll figure that out.
Florida or Tennessee. Yeah,
but we'll figure that out when the tournaments come. You know what I mean? Who wins what, where, and why. And those guys are all in the same conference.
Yep.
So it should be everybody start paying attention. There's going to be some dog fights going on, and we'll be more comprehensive about it. The reason I didn't want to is because I'm saying, okay, let's look at this guy, and this guy. And then by next week, they're out. You know what I mean? So I said, okay, Cruz, hold back.
Keep those ones in your back pocket for NBA draft.
Yeah, exactly. Or make sure that I'm going to be hyping up a guy, loses in the conference somewhere, and we don't see him for the rest of the thing. It's going to make my list look like, what are you talking about? So when we get a little bit about the tournament, there's 8 or 9 guys. Everybody should be watching. They're just a lot of fun. Competition at a level I haven't seen in years. Is that the byproduct of NIL?
I would think so.
Just it's really, really interesting to me to think of the football powerhouses in the SEC and the amount of money that conference makes, that it's quite easy to just move that money over to help out the basketball programs, isn't it? Yep. It's working in the Big Ten, obviously, too, because you look at the top teams there. Go blue. That's all I care about. Once the tournament comes, I hate everybody. Just letting everybody know that. Keep your eyes open. Should be interesting. We'll keep you informed.
And okay, we'll take this from the world of college basketball to professional baseball, where Grapefruit League is underway in Florida for our Toronto Blue Jays. our beloved yet frustrating Toronto Blue Jays. Your iPad didn't understand that. Max Scherzer has been impressing early on spring training, which is good to see. I don't know how many innings he's going to get exactly with our Blue Jays, but it's nice to see him doing well.
I think it's very interesting because we were talking before the show. The thing is that we're too early in the Grapefruit League to really come to some, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But we've got a couple guys like that Martinez and that other kid that are swinging the bat out of nowhere in spring training. That's, where did these guys come from? Which could affect a couple of the bench players that we thought were the Swiss Army knives we were going to use all year.
Yeah, because there are 3 or 4 jobs that are up for grabs with the Jays.
And I hope that they lean towards the guy that gets the stick, not the defense, which is going to probably tell me, what Cruz, what about the pitching staff? You know what I mean? But I'm going for more bat. That's what everyone.
Well, that's what the team needs.
That's what the team needs. So if these kids are swinging, I'll even take a couple of strikeouts for the power.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, people might think I'm nuts, but I'll take a couple of strikeouts to take the power that we're going to have. And a couple of these kids can swing, but we'll be a little bit more about that next week because we should be about 10, 12 games in. And the statistics might mean a little bit more right now, but I scoured over them and I just said, ooh. The only thing I did notice, and I was telling you this, is that there seems to be a pattern of a lot of teams trying to go to start the day with 6 starters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, learning from Japan.
Yes, something like this. If you look at a lot of like I said, the Dodgers got 8 starters. Arizona's got 7 starters. I noticed that. The Yankees have a bag load, and we actually have 6 potential starters. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be interesting. What we really have to improve, too, we don't talk about enough, is the failure of the bullpen last year.
Oh, with the Jays?
With the Jays, okay? So we got Hoffman, right? He's opening day closer. There's no doubt about it.
He's an improvement over Romano.
Exactly. And not only, he topped the gun at, 98 the other day. So, you know what I mean? That's what we need. And we got Garcia back, and a couple of kids are coming up. So I think the biggest battle, I think that the lineup will get there, and they'll err on the side of caution. That's what I believe lineup-wise, because we know how Shakens works. But the assembly of the bullpen could be drastically different last year by the time we get to the end of the Grapefruit League. Got 7 or 8 guys in there with some heat. All coming in. A couple guys I hadn't even heard of. Some guy we got from some minor league guy over here, which is why I'm not bringing all these guys up, because this time next week they could be in Buffalo or New Hampshire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, exactly. Like, whenever you see guys in spring training, it might just be like, oh, we need a spot filled, right?
I loved your analogy about that, because Springer needs to go golfing or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But that's a very interesting, and that's why I'm that's 2 things. Sports. I'm just not where it is. The same way I'm looking at the NCAA tournament. Baseball's on every day. I probably have a game on one of the screens right now. But the one major thing I've noticed is it's all about the starting pitching, which really drives me crazy, because my biggest bitch is pitchers don't even pitch enough now anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? 200 innings, $50 million.
Well, that's because of the spin rate, though, right?
You know what? I'm old.
The stress that they're putting on these guys' elbows and their forearms.
So learn how to pitch, not throw.
That's a systematic issue. That starts when these guys are kids. That's the issue.
When you got an agent saying 98 miles an hour is going to get you this much money, then we got issues. That affects the sport's bottom line. But I'm just saying, Skeens is one of the guys I heard they might put this guy on an innings count. Do you see the size of this guy? He ain't as big as Reacher, but he big. He a big freaking boy.
No, but I did do a little bit of research. So 25% of the time he's throwing like either a curveball, a slider. He's got like a slurve or something too. Those are pitches that put a lot of wear and tear on your elbow and on your forearm, right?
What's Max Scherzer been throwing for the last 20 years?
Okay, well, this isn't Scherzer.
But he's still...
Okay, but think about from the Pittsburgh perspective. Skeens is your best guy, your best prospect, whatever, since like what, Barry Bonds? Mm-hmm. You don't fuck with the Golden Goose. I'm not saying exactly put him in bubble wrap, but this is going to be his first full season in the major leagues. I'm not going to put him out there and just like put him out there until his arm falls off and hope for the best. I'm going to err a little bit on the side of caution, at least for his first full season. If this is still a conversation next year, okay, I'm with you. But for now...
I'm glad you brought up the bubble wrap scenario, because every time I see a young pitcher coming out of the dugout in spring training, they take the bubble wrap off before he gets to the mound. Come on. Listen, I don't know. It's all about science, metrics, analytics, diet, nutrition, workout, all that stuff. I'm just having trouble understanding what happened. Okay, you're going to tell me spin rate. I say learn how to pitch, not throw.
Again, but that's what these guys are being taught as kids.
So I'm just saying that someone's going to come and pull the lever the other way along, somewhere along the line, because it just, okay, the evolution.
What do you mean someone's going to pull the lever the other way along the line?
Let's give these guys a little bit more gas.
What do you mean?
A few more innings.
A lot of risk associated with that.
We don't know. That some guys die, some guys don't. We can go along the line like, what's the guy? Steven Strasburg. Whatever his name is. Strasburg. There's an example. David Clyde back in the day. Sure, we can get a bag load of those guys. But look at, how long has Bassett been pitching? How long has Gosman been pitching? Barrios is getting up there. Scherzer. Let's go around the league. Somehow these guys have seemed to be able to rise above it, and some at times these guys were throwing 250 innings a year.
Yeah, but Scherzer a lot of the time would run out of gas in the playoffs.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I don't know. Like, you got some good arguments here. I'm just of the belief that I'd like to see these guys just throw. If I'm paying you freaking 20 sheets a year, can you give me so many innings?
Well, hey, you're worth how much the guy's willing to pay you, right? So I'm not going to hold the guy's salary against him.
And we're going to talk about salaries in a second, but I go back and I always look at these numbers, and maybe I go to the PTI school of thought because they're baseball junkies too.
Yes,
and I've watched all the guys that they watch too. And every time they tell me something, I go, yeah. And one of the things that they scream is what? Start pitching, quit throwing. You know what I mean? Because Kornheiser's all about that. Like, he understands the maintenance on an arm, but he goes, when does it stop here? You know, you're paying this guy this much money for this long, and you're only going to get this much out of him? It doesn't seem economically stable to me, personally. So I would like to see the guys on, especially you got a big, strong guy. You know, where's your makeup?
Sure.
You know what I mean? And you got better nutrition, better training, better. That should make you stronger. And
they're also putting more on their arm right now, too, than ever.
Then get the Tommy John when you come out of the womb.
That doesn't do anything, though. We've talked about that fallacy.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So I get confused at times. I'm old. Remember that every time you listen to me, people out there. I'm an old guy, and I sometimes I just can't grasp. Like when I hear, we hope to get him up to 175 innings this year. I go, what? What? If you're the fifth starter and you give me 175 innings, I'm good in this baseball. But I want my other four starters to be over 200. Because then here's the other problem it seems to be. Not enough pitching in baseball. Pulling these guys out, the strain on your bullpen by the time it gets to freaking...
Oh, I agree.
Look at Baltimore when they got to the playoffs. Part of the problem is they said that Buddy hurt it. He was done before their number one closer. He was hurt before the season even ended. And the strain on some of those guys, because we're not just talking about pitch counts and innings now. It's how many times those guys get up in the bullpen to warm up. Add it all up. So I don't want those guys doing that as much. I want to give my front end guys take a few innings here, a few innings there. That's a few innings off my bullpen for September. Well, I don't know.
My problem is, like, I think we've gone to the bullpen a little too soon. Like, now it's guys going in the sixth inning. I think you should hold off until, like, you shouldn't be going to your bullpen most of the time until the seventh inning at least.
Okay, so
7th, 8th, 9th inning, I get that. Like, just wrap it up, whatever. But your starter's just going 5.
Okay, so this is what I'm getting back to in the human element, and we just had to do it with Barrios in the playoffs a couple years ago. Isn't there a feel for the game?
Oh, I get that.
And if the guy is on...
Oh, and we've talked about this. Like, the problem is, like, Atkins and Shapiro, they made their mind up before the game even started about how long he was going to be in.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. You see a lot of games like that. Kansas City made that mistake in a game. Tampa Bay's made that mistake.
Tampa Bay is the most infamous one.
Okay, so, but what I'm getting at is the fact that we're getting more and more taking the human element out of the game and relying on metrics and analytics. And sometimes it's a human element that wins the game. That's all I'm saying. Like when the manager has a hunch on a guy and he comes up and hits a home run and he's only hitting .035. You know, that kind of element of the game, that's getting wiped out due to analytics and metrics. But I'm saying there's a feel for in the moment. In the moment. What are you feeling in the moment? They've been feeling in the moment for 100 years. Bring all the tools to the table, but feel what's going on in that moment. That's what I think gets ignored in baseball sometimes, and then we end up getting these results where everyone gets to bitch about it like us. You know what I mean? Which is, we want to go one step level further, which we were talking about is the human element of the game. I think we might have a little bit of difference about this strike zone thing.
What happened? Last week you were on my side.
I seen some challenges. I seen one guy come up to the plate and the next guy come up. 5 inches difference in height. Things did not seem to coordinate with what they were doing with the little box.
Well, it's also about like what their batting stance is like too, right?
Too many variables to move.
This seems to be working in the minor leagues, though. No one's complaining about it down there.
Because they got to go. They're in line. You're in the minor leagues, motherfuckers.
No, if it wasn't working in the minor leagues, you'd hear about it.
No, because you know what? I'm going to give it this. It's probably maybe a 0.5 percentage point better than real umpires. That's what it's proving this spring. Like, you know, they were actually putting out the metrics. The umpires are what, 98, almost 99% right?
But what about that one call that's just brutal?
That's what we've discussed that. That seems, because when that happens at that moment I'm talking about, then it's everywhere. Okay, so I don't know where we cure that, but I'd rather leave the umpire in the game. Here, Scherzer said it the other day. He said, hey, I think
this helps keep umpires in the game. It saves us from robo-umpires.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
I think there. But I'm just saying, like, okay, we'll see the next season where it's going to go, because they're going to be really watching the percentages, because they got all the spring training data.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And plus all that data from the minors
and
last
the data
year, right?
from the minors. So these umpires, is when you're behind the plate, you're under scrutiny, buddy. I think what it'll do, it'll tighten up the strike zone in this respect. You've always heard about it. Oh, Milani's umpiring this weekend, he's going to give you the down and away one. Oh, Cruz is umpiring this game, he's going to give you the high and away one. You know what I mean? So that's the critics will use that as their ammunition to say, that's why we got it. We're having this little box in there. But if you're 98% of the time right, you know what I mean? I've already seen some challenges. It got weird. Then guys were talking about guys' size. And then I started getting confused. And then you said, oh, what about their batting stance? Where are they standing in the box?
Well, where they're standing in the box doesn't matter.
I don't think it should either.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
But
the batting stance does, because that's like from from the letters to your knees, right?
Yeah. So I there's some variables that, you know what? It's all new. We can work it out. We can see where it's going to go. But right now, after last week, I'm thinking, you know what? We want to have those moments. But now when I see this week, I'm going, I hope that the human element is stronger than those. They're good enough that we don't have many of those moments.
I don't think there will be.
No, I think it's okay. But I don't think it's etched in stone that we're going to have it.
No.
You know, Vladdy was completely crazy out of that bat this week. I think he challenged like what? Every call, every pitch. Vladdy's got his hand up. I think he did it a couple of times just because we're in spring training. How is this going to work?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think there's, and who else did it? Was it Arenado or was it Tatis? One of those guys out there, they were pulling that shit. I wonder, all on the phone talking to each other over a group call saying, you know what? Let's try this and see what happens with the umpire. Because it seems to be a certain guys that were doing it.
Sure.
And notice on my thing, but it's going to be interesting. Hey, anything to improve the game without killing the human element.
Yeah.
Because why do we watch the games?
Human element.
Thank you very much.
And the highest level of competition.
And the humans at the highest level of competition.
There we go.
Before we go, though, one of the things that we're talking about, 200 innings.
Well, I got another thing, too.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, you know when you say about 200 innings, free agency, who's going to pay for what? I think that you're really leaning towards, here comes the salary cap.
Oh, that's exactly where I was going.
Okay.
Buster Olney confirmed this on an interview we had with Blair and Barker.
I've been hearing it everywhere.
The owners are siding on the side of a salary cap, it looks like, by and large.
I can't wait till they get in the room and make the actual decision. Okay? It's like, what were they going to do in football last year? And they all got in the room and they came out and this discussion was dead.
I don't know.
I forget. Remember we were talking about, I'll have to check back there, but I'm smelling a little bit of a red herring here. Okay? Now, I think they might have enough if these owners all get together on one side, because it's going to have to be like, 65% of the owners got to go for this. Okay? And they're sitting at about, when you include the Cincinnatis, the Pittsburghs, the Tampas, few other teams around the league, even Kansas City. They're going to Seattle. Here's one of them. Is that they're all going to get together to say this is going to be the loosest salary cap in the history of mankind. That's what I predict. If there is,
we'll see. Loose how?
You got to have a floor.
That's every salary cap as a floor.
The floor is going to be ridiculous.
Like what? Ridiculously low?
Ridiculously high.
Oh,
that's what because I think the owners will acquiesce. The big shots, the Arizonas, the Rogers, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Red Sox, they're going to acquiesce it. Because that's the one argument I heard from one of the general managers. Okay, if we have the floor here, we're good. Where's the floor? And he's talking about a floor that's much higher than I think you'd have in the NHL or the NBA. Or even the, NFL, they're going for it anyway. That's a whole new extravaganza. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I think that if it's going to come in, that's what I'm talking about, the looseness of the salary cap. I think the floor is going to be high, which is going to be another battle, because then a team like Pittsburgh is going to say, well, this year we don't want to go to the floor because they've been under, like, you know what I mean? You look at some of these teams and what they do with their salaries, they're deliberately holding the line so they'll make money. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's going to be, and this is the most capitalistic sport left in North America.
Sure.
So I'm going to say, in my opinion, I believe the floor will be teams. If they get it in, there'll be teams bitching about how high the floor is.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I think this is going to be another thing just leading to a lockout in a couple years, or next year, I guess, right?
That scares me.
Yeah, because I think the players are going to push back, even though a salary cap probably means more money for the players.
Especially when you're talking about the lower end guys.
Exactly.
That's how it's going to work. So you know who's going to fight against salary cap? King Boros himself.
Well, he's losing his power. We've seen that last season.
Good. And it's about time. You know, eventually you got to pull back the curtain, buddy.
Yep.
And that's what's happening on him. But it's going to be interesting, and I think that a decision is going to be made within a series, within a year, by end of next season, or even closer, because I will acquiesce to what you said about this. The talk about salary cap, I haven't heard it in spring training this much I can't remember hearing about it talked about this much. So when there's smoke,
there's fire.
There's fire. Anything else you'd like to talk about baseball-wise?
That is just about it. We'll move this into the world of the PWHL. And, Cruz, can you get the Leaf game on one of these TVs, actually?
I was just going to say, is it close to 1 o'clock?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm in North Etobicoke. I don't know, because I don't know the history of Toronto. They say Leaf Nation could have been born here. But I'm just, no, let me finish. So here in the house of the disciples of the Montreal Canadiens, I will turn my TV on to satisfy the needs of Toronto Maple Leaf fans.
Not like you watch every Leaf game anyways.
Sometimes I watch it twice.
You got a secret blue and white jersey in here somewhere I don't know about?
No, I'm just a bastard. I just want to find every nuance to remind Leaf fans, too. And I was out with a bunch from the other night. We'll get to that in a second. But our hockey team is coming. And they said to me at least 3 times, "Shut up, Cruz." I was picking out little nuance. How do you know that? Well, you sound like a Leaf fan. You know too much about the Leafs. I'm just paying attention. So let's just put it this way. Yeah, I got a little bastard in me.
Okay. Either way, Toronto Sceptres beat the Minnesota Frost 2-1 in Minnesota. Jesse Comfort, a goal and an assist. But they fell at Montreal 3-1. Comfort had a goal in that one. Marie-Philippe Poulin had a goal and an assist from Montreal. Toronto hanging on to second place. Teams below them do have a game in hand, though.
Toronto's been amazing. I'm going to say so sorry for them. You got to know around the new year, why are we watching these guys? You know what I mean? But I love the run they made. They've tightened it up. Now, Montreal still, as you could see, that was their biggest test, and they didn't get over it yet. But they're going to get to play them in the playoffs probably. Hold on to second place. I hope they hold on to second place, because them and Minnesota are neck and neck, and that win over Minnesota was mammoth.
I think Boston's in third now, though.
Yeah, they climbed up anyway. I think the New York team's going to fall right off the cliff.
They've fallen.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any possibility. But I'm really happy because we got these girls are playing great hockey, and it's highly entertaining. I was doing a little. I like their Serge. I think they can hold on to second place, which will be very important considering the playoffs that they might get in Minnesota anyway, right?
Minnesota or Boston, most likely.
I think it's going to be Minnesota, but get the home ice advantage.
Sure.
Let's start with that. But and the hockey's been relatively entertaining, but I got a little caveat here. I tried something, and I'm not going to do it again, okay? The other night, I put the girls on one screen and the boys on the screen beside it, so I could watch both games at the same time. I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay?
Why?
Enough said. Highest level of competition is what we aspire to see in the house that happens. Whoa, it's painfully obviously why we have two genders.
Wow.
That's
Cruz, walk that back, please.
Okay, can I say it in a different way? When you see the games on the TV simultaneously, I sometimes say that I hope they're talking about expansion. I hope they tighten this up. The game that we're watching from the women's now, the quality of the game on the ice has to tighten up. Because what's going to happen is you see a lot of things you never see in even the junior hockey. You know what I'm saying? The quality of play.
Well, it's men and women.
That's
okay, but you're putting it a negative connotation on it.
I didn't mean it. I'm not.
Yes, you did.
Was that negative?
Yes, you did.
Then that's why I walked it back. I didn't want it to sound negative, but I'm saying that I was surprised at actually the difference in looking. I thought it would be like, you know what it is? You know what would change my mind immediately? I bet you if I had an Olympic girls game on and a game, we would see much different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, you'd have the best on best. So I've seen that. And I'm just saying that sometimes the quality of the play is a little bit lagging. You know what I mean? I could see some fundamental shit. Fundamental stuff about hockey. I go, ooh, okay. Like kids probably that in midget, hey, you'd be on the bench for some of that stuff. That's all I'm saying. So I think they should tighten up the product so it's easier appeal on the eyes.
I think in a lot of ways that's a grassroots problem, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like where the training is?
Yeah, I think so much of the training gets just funneled to like the men's and boys here.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Especially once we get to like GTHL level and all that stuff.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But I will put in this caveat. When the Minnesota-Toronto game got tight in the third period, the moment came.
Yes.
The moment. And so, okay, I seen this, and this is second period, but then it got to the last 10 minutes of the third period, and that's what hockey's all about. At least we got here. So we got the moment. So then the urgency, you know what I mean? Everything I love about hockey got to me in the last 10 minutes because of the circumstance of the evolution of the game, so to speak. So, I mean, that's why I said it has the potential. Tighten up, girls. You know what I mean? I want to see more of the last 10 minutes over 16 minutes than I see. I'm not saying every NHL game is great. I've turned off a couple this year. Come on, let's be serious. But I'm just saying that's what I'm hoping to be because I've been turning more games on than I've been than lately. I've watched when Boston beat Minnesota. No, I forget who they bought. That game moved in the third period too, but it lagged for a long time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, we're going to keep reporting on the girls because if we don't help them get along, how are they going to help themselves?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to keep my eye on it, and I'm so happy that our team is winning. You know what I mean? Bodes well for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you get the Leaf game on the TV, please?
I had it on.
So this week, Toronto...
Starting in the lineup, Ryan Reeves.
Oh, well, hey, we'll get to that later. So if you like the Toronto versus Minnesota, Toronto versus Montreal games, well, I got good news. There's going to be rematches of both those games this week. Toronto will play Montreal on Thursday, and they are back playing Minnesota on Sunday. That's our look in advance.
Two great games. Those should be solid games. It's that time of the season, people. If you're going to watch now.
Absolutely. This is one final stretch before World Championship. It's on TSN. And then and then they're going to be back from World Championship break 6 games after that, and then playoffs. You passed it. TSN 4. There it is.
You notice a little red dot beside that?
Recording it.
Not that I'm going to watch it twice.
And PWHL is going to get ready to announce expansion plans, or at least what teams are going to get the expansion teams this month sometime. I don't imagine they'll be ready in time for next season, so it'll probably start for the 26-27 season that we're going to get 2 more teams.
Yeah, that seems to be the projection, which is what I'm saying is girls got 2 seasons to tighten it up because then you're going to dilute the quality of the players coming into the league. So tighten it up now. You know what I mean? Walk before you run. But I'm looking forward to the expansion.
There's good ones coming up though, so I'm optimistic.
Well, I from what I'm understanding, they were saying the development level just in the last 5 years.
Oh, it's gotten really good.
Is insane. You know what I mean? Like you were talking about, they give a little bit more direction for the boys instead of the girls. Well, a lot of money's being pumped in on that level.
Yeah.
Well, due to the fact that they want the representation in the world events. So it all bodes well. Let's look forward to something great.
Very well. Anything else for PWHL?
No, but I hope we got that girl. What's her name? She's in line for MVP.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking. Miller.
Yeah, she's like her stock has risen a lot in the last 5-6 games.
Very well then. We will turn this over to our soccer report, where unfortunately we will lead off with Toronto FC. They lost their second game last night, 4-2 at Orlando. Even though our boy Bernadeschi got an assist in that one.
I seen the highlights. He was running pretty good.
Fortunately, the team couldn't keep up, I guess. But either way, in Premier League, Manchester City fell again, this time to Liverpool 2-0. Salah had a goal and an assist. Salah continues to have an amazing season. People are calling it the best in Premier League history.
Really?
Yeah.
That kid is amazing, though.
Well, he's not a kid anymore, but...
Okay, but he's amazing. God, he's another... You know what he reminds me of? He's another one of those eels through seaweed player. How does he get to those spots? You know what I mean? What's going on with Man City?
Yeah, right now he leads Premier League with 25 goals. He also leads with 17 assists.
Thank you. No,
yeah.
the guy looked amazing.
I can't believe Liverpool still hasn't given him a contract.
The politics of dancing, is that the case may be? A lot of people are breathing down his neck for money. You know what I mean? The Saudis are even taking a smell at him.
I think he's too proud for that. I think he's want to be in a competitive team.
I agree too, but I mean, money changes everything, and he's too young yet. I mean, he's not super young, but he's too young.
Plus, like, I don't know. You see with all the guys that are going down there, like, you're kind of out of the spotlight too. It's going to be like an out of sight, out of mind thing too. So you risk your career falling off the track too.
Something like the Live tournament,
potentially.
You know what I mean?
Potentially,
there could be a comparison there.
Yeah,
but in any
even though Live, most of it's in America anyways. But
what's that?
Live, most of it's in America though. The tournaments.
Yeah, but they make sure that they go to play Saudi for all those events too.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that Live's biggest problem is the TV deals.
Yeah.
That's their number one, whatever it is. But no, let's get back to the soccer thing, because we had a crazy week in the English Premier League.
Yes, so Liverpool hanging on to number one in the Premier League, still there, 13 points up on Arsenal. With 10 games left, I imagine they're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Arsenal, number 2, they got a pretty big gap ahead of Nottingham Forest. Then after that, it's them. Manchester City behind them by 1 point. Chelsea behind Man City by 1 point. And it's going to be one big clusterfuck for those final couple Champions League spots.
And before the preseason, wasn't Chelsea and Man U considered...
Man City.
Man City. Weren't they considered two of the favorites to be going to the Champions League?
Man City, especially. Chelsea was a little bit more...
I don't know if I would say
it was, I wouldn't say it was guaranteed for them to be top 4, especially since they weren't there last year, but there certainly were some high hopes.
Yeah, they still got a shot.
Oh, they're 1 point back.
They still got a shot. Yep.
With 11 games for them left to go.
Mm-hmm.
In Serie A, Napoli and Inter was a 1-1 draw in Napoli. Looking at the table there, Inter hangs on to top of the table with Napoli 1 point back. Atalanta's 2 points back of Napoli for third. They're in third, I should say. Then Juventus in fourth place with 49 points. Lazio just 2 points back, along with Bologna, looking out for that final Champions League spot.
Let's go Juventus of Turin. I love saying that.
In La Liga, weren't any huge matchups this week, but
No.
Barcelona still hanging on top of the table with Atletico Madrid 1 point behind them. Then Real Madrid is 3 points back of Barcelona for first. They're in third. And Athletic right now in fourth place in the final Champions League spot. Villarreal 4 points back of them.
Those top two teams are the class of that league, I think, now.
Top 3.
Top 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Those, I think everybody in the next bunch of games, they'll be racing for the top. All 3 good teams.
Mm-hmm. In the Bundesliga.
Wait. Did they go to Saudi for one of those tournaments?
La Liga?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they went too, right?
Yeah.
with Juventus and
yeah. So one of they were both in Saudi Arabia.
Did Spanish go too? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did Spanish league went too?
Spain and Italy went to Saudi Arabia, and
England went to Bahrain.
No. England does theirs home. It was France that did theirs in Qatar.
Qatar. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Okay.
In the world of Bundesliga, Bayern topped Frankfurt 4-0 last week, and Frankfurt once again they fell, but this time to Leverkusen at home, 4-1. That was yesterday. Frankfurt is now in third place. They are in a bit of a dogfight for these final two Champions League spots with Mainz, Freiburg, and RB Leipzig. Right now, Bayern Munich top of the table, 61 points. Bayer Leverkusen 8 points back of them with 10 games left to go.
I would argue, and I'm nowhere near any kind of expert anything. I say Bayern Munich might be one of the best club teams in the world. I wish they played more.
I wouldn't say that this season.
Is it because the quality of their league isn't as high as, say, the Premier League?
I think that maybe factors in a little bit.
Because even the Spanish league is seeming to be a little bit.
Oh, the Spanish league is much better than Bundesliga.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The competition. So that's the only take back I have of them. But they
even
dominance in their
in their league. Yeah, sure. But I mean, once you get to like Champions League and whatever, and even in their own league, it doesn't seem like they have the cohesiveness of some Bayern powerhouse teams in the past. And I mean, that Harry Kane who just seems to fall apart in big games.
Well, we're gonna find out. But every time I see them, and every time people talk about them, they get flowers. Every time I hear talk about them, they seem to win all the big games. The only game they lost lately was that one in between the championship game where it seemed to me they were taking the day off. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, their winning is going on. Look they won convincingly.
Sure.
Again, look at their goal differential.
Very well.
That's one of the, me and goal differential. I've been checking somebody. I look at Bayern Munich and I go, "Whoa, that's no matter what."
In a farmers league, but
okay, that's why I was asking you. That is perhaps maybe they wouldn't have that quite a goal differential if they were over here.
If you're winning your league every year, there's something up there.
You good.
And your league's bad.
Or, well, whatever the case may be. That's why I was asking you.
Agreed.
That's why I was asking you. Because, to me, they just seem to be, except, the other leagues, and I think Liverpool's got to be close to that. Liverpool is, amazing. Their losses have been, that weird game against Everton.
Yeah.
Okay, shit like
that. That was a draw.
Or draw, yeah, which they should have won. But, I mean, they're a dominant team to me.
Sure.
They bitch slapped Man City. What, you guys showed up? Get out of here. You know what I mean? So I'm going, okay, when they're doing that, and they're consistent. And what is their lead on top of the table now?
For who?
For Liverpool.
Oh, they're up by 11 points or something.
Yeah. They're running away with this, baby.
In Liga, PSG stole a 3-2 win at Lyon, and then just this weekend they beat, or just yesterday actually, they beat Lille 4-1. PSG scored all 4 of their goals in the first half. Jonathan David, our boy, got a late one there to put Lille on the board, but too little too late.
They kicked the ball around in that game. I had it on. They had all these goals. I seen 4-0. When I came in, oh, gee.
I believe that was Domi who scored for the Leafs. Already up 1-0.
Domi.
Oh, good for Domi. I'm happy. Either way.
We'll get to that dumpster fire in a bit.
Oh, shut up. What about your own dumpster fire?
I'm talking about Pittsburgh. I didn't say nothing. Come on.
PSG is up 16 points on Marseille for their league with 10 games left to go. I think they're just about ready to wrap that one up.
Oh, no problem whatsoever.
But it's a bit of a fight for those last two Champions League spots. Marseille and Nice are both at 46 points. Monaco only 3 points back, and Lille 5 points back of them. So it could be an interesting last few weeks for the world of Ligue 1.
That's only for the Champions League spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now
only 3 get in.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. Because players go everywhere. This guy plays over here, even though he's from England and all that. Is the English Premier League the strongest of all of them?
Them or City out right now, I would say.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's because the reason is because I look over what's going in the Champions League, and that's why I'm starting to figure out, get some valid. Okay, this is this, this is this, this is that. Well, we're going to really see about my Bayern Munich thing. We're going to see that in Champions League.
Yes, and speaking of that, we will begin round of 16 this week. First leg is this week, and then second leg is going to be the week after. So we're going to give our predictions for the 8 round of 16 matchups. First up, it's a battle of Germany, Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen. I don't think there's any way Bayern Munich blows this.
But I think Leverkusen's going to show up. they're going to show up because they already battle. But after everything I just said about them, who do you think I'm taking? Come on.
Next up is Benfica versus Barcelona. Barcelona is my pick to win Champions League.
Really?
Yeah, I earlier on the season I told you I put a bet on them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Benfica is a good defensive squad, but I think Barcelona is just going to be too much for them to handle.
So I'd like to look at it this way. Would that be a good game to gamble the under on?
No, because Barcelona can fire the ball.
Okay, so take that out of my gambling thing. Okay.
I wouldn't recommend that.
That's at prime time. I'll get to watch that game. 3:00 on Wednesday. Good game, okay.
Feyenoord, your Dutch boys are playing Inter Milan. Inter is another one of my favorites to take this tournament. I think they're going to beat them.
They got to play aggregate, right?
Yeah.
Just stay in this game, buddy, and you'll steal it at home. I'm on their bandwagon, man. Feyenoord, that's what
you can't even name one player on their team.
Doesn't matter. They have unicorns. That's all that matters. Unicorns live there. That's
okay.
So I'm a big unicorn fan. Where are they again? They're in Norway.
Netherlands.
Netherlands, yeah, whatever. And Netherlands always shows up in the. They're pretty good in World Cup and stuff.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
other guys don't play in Netherlands. Yeah, they start off in Netherlands and then they get sold quickly.
I'm going to cheer for them for the biggest. That would be one of the biggest upsets, though, right?
It would be.
If they won, that'd be like a massive upset, right?
Against Inter, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I seen the draw and they got Inter, I went, oh, gee, that bandwagon might not be riding along very fast. But I'm taking them.
Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. We have a derby here in the round of 16. Definitely no pulling strings there to get that matchup. But either way, I think Real Madrid's actually going to pull this one off.
That could be one of the games of this round, correct?
2-0 Leafs.
You're liking that, aren't you?
Loving it.
Notice I got my back to the screen. Is that one of the premier games of this round? Gotta be.
It has to be.
Yeah, like, on both those teams.
I mean, PSG Liverpool is going to be a big marquee one too.
Oh, that's just on paper.
Yeah,
that's on paper. Stop.
But Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, we got 2 versus 3 going up against each other in La Liga.
Yeah,
very historical matchup there too.
Everything about it, from my understanding and reading, like, this is the game, and that's a good time too, because that's Tuesday at 3:00 too. Mm-hmm. Good to be retired.
Are we both on Real?
No, I like Atletico.
Oh, you like Atletico?
I'm going with them. I've been watching with I'm taking Atletico.
Next up is PSV, another Dutch squad going up against Arsenal.
Arsenal.
I think this one could be an upset.
Oh, you're looking for the upset?
Yeah. Arsenal always finds a way to stub their toe. I think it could be against a team like PSV, a nice stingy team.
If Arsenal loses this game, the commotion it's going to cause in their organization is going to be large.
Welcome to Arsenal.
Oh, it's going to be large. And I've already heard these guys talking. I go, wow, Arsenal, people know this team. But the word around the campfire was I heard them say that this is almost a must-win for their organization. You know what I mean? We're there because they've been here. They haven't done as what they're supposed to be doing, and to lose in this round right here. If they lose in the next round, you're saying, okay. But not
because you make
round.
more money.
Yeah. But they said not this. Yeah, the money thing.
Yeah.
The money thing. That's what they were saying. No. Don't leave that money on the table. I'm going with Arsenal. The Gunners.
PSG versus Liverpool. I think PSG is going to make a couple of these games interesting, but I think Liverpool's going to win it still pretty handily.
3-0.
Overall?
3-0. Oh, no, the first game's going to be 3-0.
I can see them winning it by like 2 or 3 goals on aggregate.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm expecting, because they'll probably go back there and have a tie. And then they'll be ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Because I forget how that stupid shit in soccer. Why don't they have the best 2 out of 3?
Too much time.
Agreed.
Because soccer you only play once a week, basically, right?
And not only that, because I'm so North Americanized, I can't be arguing with their history and the understanding of aggregate goals. Which means the first game you play, that half you play, is just as valuable as that half you play in a second game, which heightens the drama that you need to win. But I'm just not used to it.
Second last one is Dortmund versus Lille. 2 teams that are not exactly going at the top of their game right now. I mean, both of them have been showing up more in Champions League than they have in their own league. I think Dortmund's going to take this one, though.
I do, too, and I think that both of those teams got the luck of the draw.
Yes.
Because you'd think that'd be splitting with considering where they are.
Well, it's also based on like one of these teams was in the play-in, the other one was a bye, right?
Exactly. So that's how it played out. But I sometimes believe that that way they pull it out of the hat again kind of makes me go, okay. But I'm taking Dortmund there too.
And then last but not least is Club Bruges from Belgium going up against Aston Villa, who is a team we talked about more early on this season, but not so much lately, as a little bit of a dark horse.
Austin should pull it out this week. I like their history better.
I think so. Club Bruges, if you had to power rank all the teams that are left, they'd probably be last.
Point well taken.
But Aston Villa, no powerhouse themselves, so could this be an upset? That's not completely out of the question.
No. I'm picking Fenworth, remember? Or
Feyenoord,
Feyenoord. I'm picking them. And they have to be, if you ranked all these teams, they're not ranked up there in no top 5.
Yeah, they'd be near the bottom, too.
They'd be near the bottom, yeah. Anyways, I just think it's...
yeah, I'm going to go with Aston Villa as well.
Yep, I'll take that.
Mostly because of their goalie, the Argentinian guy, Martinez.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Is he the best goalie in the world?
That's hard for me to say.
I'm going to go look that up this week. Goalies in the world, because I always
it was Manuel Neuer for a while, the German guy.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you could say that about him anymore though.
He's older.
Yeah,
he's older, and I've heard about him. But I've seen highlight films of this Argentina guy.
He's good.
I seen him I go, how did you get over there? Like you were moving this way, and you somehow got back to block a shot over here. Very agile, eh? Very. He moves like a basketball player to me. When I seen his highlight, like he's got that, that feet move, like the point guard,
the footwork,
the footwork style, like. Very good goalie.
Anything else for soccer?
No, but I'm actually looking forward to the games. A couple of these games I will be sitting down. I will be getting my schedule around who's who, especially that Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid game. I'm very interested to see who's going to come out of there. And, of course, I'm going to watch my Unicorns play. And I want to see Arsenal win just because I like the Gunners. Hey, Gunners, let's go. That's another interesting game. And they're all on the afternoon, which is cool.
Yep. Well, you're up, right?
Yeah, and not only that, which is cool, but I've finally found out a way to where all these games are. You got to go searching for them. And on iPrints for Sportsnet. Everything's on there, right? Sportsnet World.
No, DAZN has Champions League.
Yeah. And I got DAZN, so I'm good with that.
There you go. Yeah, I don't often do this, but I might have to go out and watch the replays of some of these games. Either way, we'll move us into the world of the NBA, one of the sports that's been more frustrating than not lately, but we'll begin with our power rankings. And I have a top 10, but you have a top 8 out of spite.
Thank you. What was that bastard thing I was talking about earlier? Okay, give me your top 10. I want to hear yours first.
Number 10, your Detroit Pistons.
Okay, full disclosure. I'm reverse jinx. That's why I didn't get to 10. I said leave my boys alone. I'm scared. Love the Pistons. I'm telling you right now, nobody wants to play them in the playoffs.
Nope.
This is Cade Cunningham's coming out year.
What a turnaround for this team.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like, look at the age of that team. Those guys have been together.
Well, think about where they were last year, though, with Monty Williams almost losing 30 games in a row.
I got it. But you know what? The core of this team, about 6 guys, they've all been together now for 3 years. So, and they got arguably a better coach. What's his name there? And they've turned it around. You advance in as your abilities as you get older. You learn the game better. So when you have the same core of guys, that's how you build. That's how it happened way back in the day with all these teams, even Golden State, right? Took them a few years for all their young guys to mold, and then away they went. So I'm all stock on Detroit Pistons way up.
Absolutely. Number 9, they fell from number 5 for my rankings a couple weeks ago, the Memphis Grizzlies.
I got you.
Number 8, struggled a little bit, but I got the Houston Rockets. Number 7, I got the New York Knicks. Number 7, the New York Knicks. Number 6, I got the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 5, the Denver Nuggets. Number 4, fresh on the list, the LA Lakers. Number 3, I got the Boston Celtics. Number 2, Oklahoma City Thunder. And number 1, they've won their last 9 games in a row, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
What games have you been watching? You got Cleveland at number 1?
They've won their last 9 in a row.
See who they played. Orlando, Atlanta, me and you.
9 in a row is 9 in a row.
I agree. Wait till okay, so I'll just tell you this. I really like your number 10. on the Pistons, okay? And there was a couple other teams I thought I put in there, including Houston, but I got to number 8 and said, screw them all because it's too much of a mess beyond that. So I think you skipped a team. I didn't hear you put in there. So my number 8 is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
My number 7 is the New York Knicks. Okay? They're going to get around. Now, after last night, I made a huge mistake because I should have switched maybe the Bucks with the Grizzlies, but I've got the Grizzlies at number 6, and I think that I put them too high because I did this before I started.
They've had too many brutal losses lately.
Not only that, they can't keep the lineup together. Ja missed a game; they got blown out. Like they did. Maybe they're just getting ready to get to the playoffs because they're still a good team. What did Jared Jackson do in the loss? 40 points, 20 rebounds. It was an insane game. Bane had a good game, but they didn't have the finisher with Morant. So, to be honest with you, I think I have the Grizzlies too high. I've been really taking a look last night. I made this list, I think, on Friday, and I did a little bit more looking, and I said, the Grizzlies, I think you're where you put them is more accurate than I do. Anyway, number 5, I have your Los Angeles Lakers.
So wait, so what? So Milwaukee 8.
Yep. Knicks 7.
Okay.
Grizzlies 6.
Oh, Grizzlies 6. Okay.
So which I think I made a mistake on. Lakers 5.
Okay.
Nuggets 4. Cavs 3. Celtics 2. OKC 1.
Okay, so I didn't miss anybody then.
Did you get the Lakers in there?
I had them number 4.
Oh, yeah, number 4. Okay, yeah, I got it. Come up there. I just don't see... and at the beginning of the season, I was one of the ones that was calling Cleveland's going to make the great rise, and they have done that. But I think against some of the big teams, like Boston is just a powerhouse.
I agree.
They're just like, and you know what? Only reason I'm giving OKC this much love is because look at their record in their conference and how far they are ahead. So you got to respect that. But I think sometimes Boston's on freaking autopilot.
That's why I couldn't give them. That's why I couldn't put them ahead of Cleveland.
So I'm just saying that they're just a little. And this is a great game today. This is a litmus test or not. No, this is more for Denver because Denver's playing this
Boston,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, it's more for them. And Denver, they would have been higher for me, except for the Lakers pushed them around the other night. And let's talk about this seriously now. When you got Luka and LeBron on the floor, whoo, people better start paying attention to this because you know what they're doing? They're freeing up like that guy like Hayes. They're freeing up, what's the other forward's name? I forget. I should have the lineup up there. They're freeing up guys for free shots. The way they're interchanging, and they've only played together, They're only
like a handful of games.
Games. I think they're 7-2 with Luka or 6-4, whatever the case may be.
The problem is they don't have a big.
They got around it with Denver, though. That's what surprised me because they had Aaron Gordon, they had Michael Porter Jr., they had the Joker in the middle, and they pretty well controlled the game.
Is that going to work in a 7-game series, though? That's the question.
That's the number one thing. Like, okay, we see you once, the next time we'll be ready for you. That is the number one question. But this Luka-LeBron dynamic has changed the cosmos in the NBA quite dramatically. It's turning out a little bit better than the Lakers have discussed. Now, here's something that I would have thought
And the Lakers found their superstar for the next 10 years.
There you go. So there's a couple other teams that's why I said good 9 and 10 because they're all so mixed up, is the fact that where are the Clippers in this? You know what I mean? Where's Indiana in all of this?
Yeah, Indiana,
Houston
I would say,
is falling rapidly.
Indiana was my number 11, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's why I said all those teams seem to be in one bag for me.
Yeah.
And by the time I get to the end of the week, I'll be talking something different. Like I was screaming Denver last week. What did they lost? 2 of their last 3 against big teams. Mm-hmm. And they're big and they got pushed around. But I think what the problem with Denver is over a 7-game series, it gets back to my theory I've been talking about a couple of weeks. They don't rely on the 3 to win. So if the other team's hotter on the 3s, you could be in trouble. But their defensive acumen is tight enough that they could get away with it over a 7-game series. Like they don't have to totally rely on the 3-point game to win. Their defense is strong enough. Their rebounding is one of the best in the league.
Oh, sure, they're big.
And they're big. So let's see it. That's why I was very surprised how the Lakers handled them pretty easily. Was it last night or the night before? Handled them pretty easily. It was an interesting game, which is going to make perhaps the NBA give everybody a wake-up call.
I don't know. I don't know what the NBA anymore.
Okay, so let's before we get to the teams and where they're going and stuff, there's a serious discussion going on out there now, and since it's in the room, let's discuss it. Okay, the Four Nations Cup has kicked the living shit.
Four Nations face off.
Yeah, that has kicked the living shit out of the NBA. to a point where it's always been, it's almost embarrassing now. Now, thank God we had PK Subban, of all people, who's getting back on his bandwagon, very eloquently on 2 or 3 shows, pointed out, this is hockey, this is basketball, this is how it's played, this is how we got to do it. Oh, you guys, we don't have 10 guys making $20 million and taking the night off. We got guys making $3 or $4 million that are scrapping their asses off just to stay on the ice, kind of deal. You know what I mean? Another thing, the flow of the game. Hockey is a fast, violent game. I don't see anybody on skates in the NBA. Let's put it that way. But the number one thing is, the players have sold the game in the NHL because they've shown how much it means to them, whereas opposed in the NBA where guys are still taking too much time off. You know what I mean? And it's like I talk about, do you think I'm bitching about these guys doing 200 innings? A guy making $50 million a year, he's going to say, well, I'll give you 65 games. How does that work?
Stanley, come on.
Okay, Stanley, come here.
Come on, you bear.
Yes. The Stanley distraction.
No, but that is a big issue in the league. The kind of the big discrepancy between the fans and the players.
100%. And now it's getting heated in this way. Let's see who we've talked to this week. Guys that are pertinent in the NBA. Charles Barkley, Stephen A. Smith, the insider the big guy?
Well, he's not in it. Wojnarowski? No, he's not there anymore.
No, the other guy, Brian, whatever, that big guy.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
his,
the ESPN, Windhorst.
Okay, I've seen him there. I don't always give the credibility some of the ex-players that are coming out because they're borderline sounding like they're bitching. So sometimes you got to give them better of a doubt. But
I think Paul Pierce got fired from ESPN.
Oh, 100%. But I mean, like some of the big guys have saying like I've heard Magic Johnson come out and say value the game. You know, like little things like that. But I mean, you look at any pertinent Kenny, Shaq, you name them, Wilbon, Kornheiser, everybody's saying the same thing. The quality of the game is eroded. And then there's a variety of reasons. The refereeing at times kind of muddles it.
But I mean, if it was a better product, like we wouldn't even be talking about that, or at least it wouldn't be that much of a big issue. I think a big problem with the NBA right now is just like the discourse and just the attitude and everything around the league is just so negative right now.
Okay, but
and there's a lot of blame to go around. I'm not just saying it's just on the players, just on the media. No. Everyone's got to eat their share of the blame of this.
100%. But the part of the problem.
Damn it.
Oh, gee, things have changed.
Yeah.
In any event, I think part of the problem is when you get the Draymond Greens and the Kevin Durants and even Tatum this week coming up and just you get to a microphone and what is a fan going to think when they hear that? Then they're going to question.
Well, it's more Durant when he types away on X.
Whatever he's doing. But you know what I mean? Then that translates to what they see on the court. And we know that Phoenix dressing room is not exactly a Happy Valley PTA. You know what I mean? No. So, but when you're saying this into the thing, and everybody's watching social media, if you're not totally, but you're kind of dissing your own product, and then you go out on the floor and you lose by 25, what are the fans going to think?
Exactly. If you're going to say the game is shit, like why am I going to watch?
Oh, that's what I mean. And
that goes for media as well. Like you're there to kind of promote the game, and you're not making me want to watch the game.
Okay, so that's where I'm really glad you got that point out because you were saying there's blame to go all around. Yeah, okay, sometimes you make your valid point, the Barclays, the Wilbons, whatever, but you guys got to be careful too about beating that dead horse.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Be careful. Like,
LeBron actually said something about that this week. It's like I could see people getting upset about LeBron saying it the way he did, where he's like, just whatever the I don't know. I guess the amount of media people, just how often they're like just kind of like digging in, like shit gets old fast.
Oh, I know. And you know what? LeBron had a point there, but I think LeBron's the biggest fuck you guy in the NBA.
I agree.
Right now, especially the more you think about what he did at the All-Star game is the fuck you. You really think about what he did. It's a fuck you. And you're LeBron. You brought a lot of ice to the table. You've improved the quality of the league for a period of time. But if you're not saying, like, everybody knows this, we don't have to tell them. The NBA, you guys got an image problem that has to be drastically changed Because the number one problem they have is what? Which is the bottom line about everything. What's failing for them? Doesn't matter what's going on. What's failing? The ratings. Yeah. And what is it all about? The ratings. And not only that, look at your sponsors and your new TV deal. Okay, and your new TV deal doesn't even kick into next year. So what about those people that put that $11 billion into your coffer hearing this? Something's got to break. Something's got to shake.
Well, exactly. Like, if it keeps going like this, those TV deals aren't going to be as high the next time around, right? So they're kind of playing with fire.
Got 7 years to live with it. Everybody's rich then. Don't you know the NBA players think that the NBA is a piggy bank? That's one of the problems. You know what I'm saying? And endorsement deals and agents and blah, blah, blah. Now, here's the caveat. All you need is one series to go ballistic on a level of the four nations in competitions, and watch how quickly everything that we talked about gets washed away that week.
Oh, especially if it's a Lakers-Celtics final this year.
Oh, come on. That's what I'm saying. Like, Adam Silver in his back pocket saying, well, you know what, if we pull it this way, because what you're going to do now going into the playoffs is that we're going to start hearing now, and I believe this within a month, especially if the Lakers keep winning. What's the narrative we're going to be hearing on TV all the time?
Not just about LeBron.
Celtics, tradition.
No.
Can the kids get at him? What's OKC going to do? Shay's the MVP. You watch the narratives changes go in there. So this happened, was it last year, the year before, where they were getting close to this, and then the playoffs were really good? Yeah. And then everything that they thought about got washed under the table because
the playoffs were really good except for the finals.
For the finals, yeah, exactly. But I'm saying up to then, so then they had something to talk about, and then the finals weren't what they expected it to be, and then now we're back to where we are, and we got a lot of wah going on. And I'll tell you the truth, I love basketball. You know what I mean? Now
I do too.
I love it too. But you know what I'm saying is like it's a different comparison. But remember talking about watching games on the screens at the same time. So I've also put on the NBA besides the college game. Big difference, obviously, when you see it.
College game more defensive, longer shot clock.
Yeah, but in a weird way, the intensity level ratchets up more. You know what I mean? I wish the shot clock was a little bit even lower because they keep bringing it down.
Was that 30 now?
Yeah, like they keep bringing it down.
They just go to 24.
International won't want that.
What do you mean? FIBA goes 24-second shot clock.
They go 24 seconds now? I thought it was 28.
No.
Okay, then let's get around to that. But anyways, just think the evolution of college game in my lifetime. When I was in high school, they didn't have a shot clock. Think about that. They didn't have a shot clock.
Some of those games must have been brutal.
I hated North Carolina. They had that. You ever see the Four Corners?
No.
Oh, my God. I used to throw things at the TV set. These guys would be, and Dean Smith would practice it in the dressing room. North Carolina would get the ball and hold on to it for like 3 minutes.
I believe it.
Oh, it was insane. Duke got on that bandwagon. A couple other teams in the Big East got in that way. But as soon as they brought in the shot clock, that was the evolution of the game, which it should have. Because I think it came in around the time of, I forget what year it came in, around the Magic Johnson's career, I think.
So like mid-70s.
Yeah, late 70s. Late 70s. Because remember, he was in the NBA in the 1980 season.
Yeah.
Okay. But in any event, what we're hoping for once again is that they clear up these issues because we're going to hammer this to death. We are here for the highest level of competition, not prima donnas, soap operas, and what everybody's saying on the sideshows. It's the quality that we see on the game, and it's great for hockey because hockey has been, look at the coverage of hockey in the States in this last week.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get to that a little bit later. So shot clock for men's basketball was added in 1985, and it was 45 seconds.
What, shot clock wasn't until 85?
85.
So you mean Jordan played without shot clock?
I guess so.
I thought it was around Jordan.
And then it was reduced to 35 seconds in 93.
Yeah, and now it's still 35, right?
30 seconds. 2015, they made it 30 seconds.
They made it 30 seconds because they had to. It slows the game down. You know what I mean? Make these guys shoot. And the smart coaches could play defense that way and wear the clock away. You know what I mean? Which is...
Especially since there's no rules against zone defense in college, right?
End of story. So when you add it all up... But what I've noticed is, like, even the game yesterday, that Alabama-Tennessee game was outstanding. It wasn't the quality of the NBA, but the intensity was there because we got the tournament, as we mentioned, breathing down their necks. Great basketball game. I'm just hoping that what's going to happen is, I'm going to say it again, let's have some decent playoffs, guys. I love my basketball, but I don't know how many games I haven't turned off this year. We got a few more notes about basketball. Can we talk about it?
There's the Minnesota comeback against Oklahoma City this week. Luka had his revenge game against Dallas. Not in Dallas. This one was in LA.
Yep.
And Embiid done for the year.
Okay, I already said that damn Embiid. You know, you're right, Stanley.
There's rumors of Embiid coming to the Raptors.
Oh, my God. That's a Masai thing. We know it. Okay, and I get it. But, I mean, what do we got to give up for the guy?
Well, that's the big question. But, having him on the Raptors, like, with our culture, I think they'd be able to make it work.
Well, I think that the way that what's-his-name coaches would be mindful of his minutes and the way they play defense. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong. But I don't know if I want Embiid in Toronto.
I'm not sure either, but I'll just
What's
roll
his
with
age
the punches.
now? He's 30, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's out again. And what's his stipend with the new apron? I mean, Rogers could afford that anyway.
Rogers Bell, yeah.
Yeah, they could afford it anyway. I'm just saying that.
The NBA has a cap, though.
Yeah,
so
that new apron.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way you're able to move. I think it would be interesting because I think it's getting to a point where he's going to need to change scenery anyway.
Yeah, it's not working in Philly, clearly.
No. The process has failed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you want to look at it that way. But there's some other interesting developments in the league. Besides this, Kevin Pick, I will give you the benefit of a doubt on this. We talked about that game there, and I was slagging Minnesota like you wouldn't believe when they were down 25 points going into the fourth quarter.
Ant-Man's your boy, too.
Yeah, but, I mean, he was great, but Naz Reid was even crazier. But, and in any event, and then they got bitch slapped by L.A. a couple nights later because freaking my boy had a hissy fit and got thrown out of the game. You know what I mean? So it's all weird shit like that. They got to be careful about what they're doing on the court because that's not good for the fans.
No.
Ant-Man, you got a temper. Then you know what? You didn't realize the situation you were in the game. Out of here. And it was a tight game. Then it was over. They lost. It's just interesting, and I will shout out to Mr. Kevin Pick. He said, matchups is like fights. Matchups make better fights. There's something about that matchup with OKC and Minnesota that's just weird. They knocked them out of the playoffs last year, remember? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't think they'll be able to do it 7 games this year, and we forgot to say this. I don't think Holmgren played that game because he was on maintenance.
Right.
Okay, so we'll give it the benefit of a doubt. But to be able to come back like that, and Minnesota's struggling for their season.
They really are.
You know?
We were talking about this off the air. New York and Minnesota somehow both got worse with that Towns trade.
And at first it looked like Knicks did the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they made that trade.
And they had their run.
Yeah.
But now they're settling where they are, and I don't think they're going to get any. They're not going to get to conference finals. I don't think so.
No, they're probably going to be eliminated by Boston in round 2.
But the thing is about it is that the Mitchell Robinson experience is now underway. And they've won since he's been back in the lineup. And that's been their big bitch. They haven't had their whole lineup, and they need that one bigger guy to take pressure off Cat. So they've got 20 games to prove whether that's going to be right or wrong. Because I'm not completely throwing the Knicks out with the baby in the water kind of deal because they are solid. But the thing about the Knicks is that's so surprising is, where's their defense? Tom Thibodeau, the coach. What happened to their defense? So what I'm saying that is really, really weirded me out. When you look at the standings, where's our boys Sacramento?
They're in 10th, aren't they?
No, they're actually in 9th.
Oh, okay. They're in the play-in.
I think they're going to rise up further. They got addition by subtraction. You know what I mean? Like something went on. Like Fox is a great, great player. I would never want to trade the guy. Suddenly they brought in Valanciunas.
That was a big ad.
Huge. Cleaning up in the middle. DeRozan scoring. They got Sabonis. Levine.
Yep.
Looking like he wants to play. So suddenly I looked at them, and when I seen them play the other night, they're completely different.
And some other teams in the West are kind of falling around them. Like San Antonio, after Victor went out, their season's done.
They're done.
Phoenix is a dumpster fire.
100%. And is Houston going to be able to right the ship?
Well, Houston, I think, is going to be above them no matter what.
Only because they had they banked enough games.
Exactly.
So they're okay there. But I feel before the season, I was freaking screaming Houston. Fred VanVleet's not back in the lineup yet.
No.
That's a huge... People don't realize that, and I'll beat that drum again. Fred VanVleet is a floor general. Whether or not you get pissed about his shot selection at times, he's a floor general. And they just play different when he's on the court. And remember, when Van Fleet's out there, he's playing 35, 40 minutes a night. That's huge with a bunch of kids to keep them under control. So I'm still saying that. And Houston can play defense. So I'm not ruling them out, but you gotta learn to lose before you learn to win. And I think that's going to be one of those seasons for Houston, unfortunately.
Anything else for basketball?
Not really. I'm just going to say this. I can't wait to see what happens in the next week because all these teams are playing each other. And just look in the West and look at the play-in picture in the East, because we know the top three are going to run away with this, even though Milwaukee is better than we're saying. They're playing better ball. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be really fascinated where they jockeying is from the 7th to the 6th spot to the end of the season, because it's all those, and we got the Laker factor in there. And look at, suddenly the Lakers are ahead of Memphis. How did that happen? And Memphis is supposed to be the team. So where's their...
Well, Lakers got Luka.
There you go. And the Clippers are suddenly being a little bit more quieter because they're working Kawhi in for more minutes. Mm-hmm. So we don't know a veteran team like that when we see them in the playoffs, what's going to go on. So I think that even though all our berating of all the things that are wrong with the game, just what we're saying right now says there is a possibility that we could see some fun in the stretch run, and let's hope we get it.
I think so.
Yep.
We'll move this on to our favorite here at the house that happens. It's the National Hockey League, and we'll begin with our top 10 power rankings.
No, shouldn't we talk about the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs jumped out to a 2-0 lead on Pittsburgh? And what's the score now?
It's 3-2 Pittsburgh.
Look at the shots on goal, though.
I can't see.
13 already each. They're firing the puck. Who's in the net for Toronto?
Wall, I believe.
Oh, whoops. Just pointing out that because you know how much.
I was a little bit worried that this could be a trap game.
What did I say before the show? Don't. Well, lots of time.
Yeah, we'll see.
Lots of time. We'll give him benefit of a doubt. Okay, let's give it. So since you went first last time, I guess it's me to go first
right ahead.
This time. At number 10, I have the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay.
At number 9, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning. At number 8, I have Carolina Hurricanes. At number 7, which I think now I might have been a little bit low because they could have had the Four Nations hangover, I do have the Oilers at number 7. I expect them to rise before the season.
I think you're giving those two teams a little too much of the benefit of the doubt, but I digress.
Wow. Number 6, a team I've been hailing all year, but I don't know what they're doing. Florida Panthers. Number 5, I have the Washington Capitals. Number 4, your beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 3, I have the Dallas Stars. Number 2, I have Vegas. Number 1, I have the Jets.
Vegas 2.
Oh, yeah. I think they're on autopilot.
I'm not going to give them credit for being on autopilot, though. That's a cop-out.
Well, they're a good team.
They're good.
They're very good. They want to win. In 7-game series, it's going to be tough to beat those guys.
I agree, but
lately, because some games you're looking and go, is this Vegas? Is this Vegas? What are you guys doing? And then they do what they do against Vancouver. That's why Vancouver got their ass kicked the next night. I really believe that. Vegas and Vancouver gave Vegas everything they wanted for 40 minutes.
It's a 3-period game.
Last time I checked. And then what happened in the third period, which tells you about size? Vegas shot the puck from everywhere and hit everything they seen. Next thing you know, game over.
Yeah.
Very good game, mind you. But then what happened to Vancouver the next night?
Against who they play the next night?
Somebody shit and lost 4-0 or something. They got killed. Very next night, which just tells you about the highs and lows in the NHL, so to speak, though. But I'm going with Vegas. I'm going. Look where they are in the standings. That should be enough. Give you some understanding of where they are, so to speak.
Well, let me give you my top 10.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
So number 10, I have the Edmonton Oilers.
Wow.
Number 9, I got the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh,
ever since Four Nations, they've had some brutal losses. I can't put them that high.
You know what I'll give you before you continue? I like one of the things that you look at more than I do, and I did look at their last 10. So I went, where I had Carolina too, and I looked, I said, okay, I'm going to stick with because I think they're going to get there. But you got a good point. Carolina's had some brutal losses.
Them and Edmonton.
Yeah. Oh, Edmonton looked like they were trying. The one that really, which is good for me, is they went into Montreal and got shut out.
Yep.
Think of that.
Number 8, I got Colorado.
Oh.
Number 7, I got Tampa Bay. Number 6, I got Vegas.
Okay.
Number 5, Toronto.
You got the Capitals at Toronto?
I do.
Okay, keep going.
Number 4, I got Florida.
Okay.
Number 3, I got Washington.
Okay.
Number 2, Dallas.
Oh.
And number 1, Winnipeg.
So you're on the Dallas train too, eh?
They've been too good lately.
Oh.
Granlund, ever since he's been a big piece that they got there.
And they got Farber.
No, that's Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. Farber. No, who's the other guy on the other defenseman they got on Dallas? They got a couple, 3 guys.
Well, Harley, Lindell.
Oh, yeah, Harley. I mixed up.
Heiskanen, but he's hurt.
Yeah, that's too bad for them. No, I got Harley and Farber mixed up. I like Harley a lot.
Yeah.
And he showed his
especially after what he did for Canada.
And not only that, their goaltending has been holding up really well.
Yes, Ottinger has been very good this year.
Yeah, because you questioned him earlier in the year. Is Ottinger the guy?
Because last year he was bad.
No kidding. You know what I'm saying? But it's also interesting because when you look at a couple of these teams here that are scrambling to make the playoffs, just below that, depth issues in this league are number one. I've noticed, like when you go down, a little bit farther here now, you look at a team like, say, Columbus. They're going to make the playoffs. How far do you go when your number one scorer is a defenseman?
Well, he's also an exceptional defenseman.
I
think Columbus they can't get any top centers.
They can't score all the time, but they shut you down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's also their game. So
100%. Yeah. So but in the playoffs, does that make it? Like, look at
we said this before. You need top end guys in the playoffs, and like they don't have that true number one center.
No.
I think they might be calling Vancouver trying to get a guy like Pettersson, maybe.
Could be a mistake. But they might need some scoring.
Exactly.
They got no top end scoring. They have 2 guys with around 20 goals.
That few young guys are coming along.
Oh, I say in a year from now, we'll be talking a different story. They've developed well. But you know what makes them good, though? Not only they have Werenski, they got that Pronovo guy. Didn't he play for Finland?
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a great hockey player. That Sevenson guy and that Jake Christensen guy. All big boys that can skate, and they're all plus players. Mm-hmm. That's how many teams in the NHL can say you have 4 defensemen that size on a plus and a top 5 or top 8 defensive team in the league. That sets this table for a team that could do something. I just don't think they have the top end scoring.
Well, I think part of it too is that they're going to be in a wild card spot. And they're going to be playing a very good team in the first round.
Could be Toronto.
Could be Toronto. Could be Florida.
Could be Florida. That's what they got to worry about.
Could be Washington.
Which gets me back to what are the Detroit Red Wings going to do?
Ooh, a couple big losses against Columbus this week.
There was my story, and this is what I'm telling you about. If Detroit's back end is their problem, it's not their front end. They can fly with the best of them, which is gives you that juxtaposition, and you've seen it again. Columbus had no problem beating Detroit. None. It looked that way to me. But Detroit can skate like hell, and they got guys that can score.
Yeah.
Their goaltending, their defense kind of lets them down at times. I would be interested to see, like, that's what I'm saying. Both of these teams are probably going to make the playoffs. You think Detroit's going to make it?
I mean, I wouldn't say either of these teams are slam dunk yet. I would put Columbus in there just because they've been consistent all season. They've been hovering around the number 8 spot all year.
Yep.
Mind you, that's backfired against teams before in the past. I get that.
Minnesota,
yeah. Right. But I mean, there's still a lot of other teams that are knocking on the door. Like I think of like Ottawa specifically.
Ottawa's in trouble.
But they could still make the playoffs. They're 2 points out with a game in hand.
I agree. I think the Rangers are done.
Yeah, they're in trouble. Boston's still kind of hanging around there. Montreal's all of a sudden back in the conversation.
Can I say one thing? Boston ain't making playoffs.
You got to talk about them in the conversation, though.
Okay, that's enough conversation for them schmucks. Get them out of here. They're like, I can't wait to see them go down.
What happens if Boston makes the playoffs?
I'll be shocked. Marchand's out now, eh?
Is he actually?
I heard that he got hurt last night. So there's another guy. So who's gone now? Marchand, McAvoy, Lindholm.
Yeah.
I'm missing somebody else. Like one of their guys. They got 4 guys, main guys that are out.
You know what's going to happen, though? Boston's just going to rebound next year and make the playoffs.
I'm not going to. Let's not get there. Cause
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Let's not go there yet. But I'm not betting against that. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Another problem with Boston is the goaltending's been a little inconsistent.
A little? Swayman has not been good this year.
This is, you know what I mean? And that was their strength.
Well, him missing all that time in training camp, I think, is the number one thing that's kind of holding him back there. He's been having to play catch up. But both their goalies, like, they're both at the 895. That's just like, what, league average?
And you don't like that?
Nope.
Okay, so, and they let a goalie go, and how did that work out for the team that took that goalie?
Worked out pretty well for them.
Who's that?
Allmark.
Where is he now? He's on
Ottawa.
Yeah, but where is he now?
He's injured, isn't he?
Again. Shows up when he feels like it.
Oh, well, hey.
Oh, come on.
Actually, is he injured still? No, he's actually back.
Oh, he did come back.
He's back.
This guy is a weird dude. Word around the league is now that he's got to Ottawa, all those things they hit about him personally are coming out in Ottawa. He's a strange cat. All goalies are strange cats.
We know that.
Okay, but this guy's a little stranger than people realize. He's not in his comfort zone. That's what they say the number one thing, and he's not being coddled. So add that combination, new team, minor injuries as you haven't gotten over, defense that's been good, bad, and ugly. Ottawa, with that goaltending tandem, should have been said they'll at least make the playoffs. Think about it. And then look at their run around New Year's.
Well, yeah, that's when they started to come up. I mean, they're still right there. I mean, I know it's been a bad last few weeks for them, but still at 500, so not terrible.
No, if they make it, I'm going to say, okay, they're going to earn it. But then you know what it is?
My money would still be on
Columbus and Detroit.
I think Ottawa might pass Detroit.
Got a game in hand.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Ottawa's got the tiebreaker, too.
Yes, they do. I don't think Boston's there. But here's what happens in the league right now, okay? And my affiliation is huge on this bullshit. I said in the last show or the show before, I just hope we're competitive coming down the stretch. And we know we're talking about my beloved Montreal Canadiens. Suddenly we've won 4 in a row, and everyone's got an erection. Like, how long is it? What do we lose? Like, remember last time we were on the streak? What did we lose 3 in a row? It's that time of the year when it's so tight that I can't even anymore get... I'm happy the way we're playing, and we played really good. And look what we did. This is why you talk about teams we are. We played 3 good teams, and we were solid. We got San Jose at our house, and at times San Jose was freaking taking it to us. You know, and I'm going, what did you do? This is not the time of the year to be taking the time off.
Well, I think your management knows, too, that this is, I don't want to say it's like a mirage, but this is like not it, you know? Like the talk is about you guys selling at the deadline, not buying.
Okay, then who are we going to sell?
Savard is one of the big ones coming up.
Bye.
Yeah.
I get it. Evans is on the board. Armia. Those 3 are the big 3. Now, I would keep Armia forever if I could. So, for example, what's going to happen is Josh Anderson isn't going anywhere in Montreal.
No.
He can stay on the third line forever. And if he keeps performing the way he does like this on the third line, you need those guys. It's our top 6 that we've got to improve on. You know what I'm saying? Even though Caulfield's having a season greater than I expected, thank God, and Slafkovsky's coming around, hitting and banging people. And you know what? We got a solid defense core. You know what I mean? You know what's great about Montreal? Do you hear what Aberjacki said the other night?
Arbor-Xhekaj, you mean?
My buddy. His buddy's crazy in junior too, eh? See his brother in Laval?
Oh, yeah.
Playing.
I saw him play. He got in a fight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the guy challenged him. You look at your last name. But he's scoring huge in Laval. But that's not my point. The other night in the game, was it Carolina? No. Who did we play on Thursday night? I forget. I should look it up. Anyway, when we won on Thursday night, who did we play? Was that Carolina? No, we played Carolina on Tuesday. And, okay, anyways. You know how many minutes Aberjacki played in the third period? 3.
Oof.
You know what he said? On this team, if you don't got it, you sit on the bench. That's how we're going to win. And it was my turn to be not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I had nothing better to do to start thinking about how much I'm going to be playing better when I get on the ice. Whew! Whew! How do you like that statement from a kid?
Sure.
That's just, that's off. He didn't sulk, didn't cry, didn't say nothing. He said, nah, if anybody on the team does not show up, you get treated like I did, and I have to accept that because that's going to make me better when I get on the ice. That's what I think Montreal's got going for them right now. Their camaraderie's off the charts. Camaraderie doesn't always equate to victories. You know what I mean? So I don't like to say it, but your mirage... what would you call it, metaphor, so to speak? Well, that's us. As sure as I'm sitting here, as sure as I love this team, sure I'd love to them do more. Then look at their schedule coming up. Got to play everybody. We got Toronto twice still, don't we?
I'm not sure. Probably.
Yeah.
They front and back load the schedule of division games, right?
Exactly. So then now, guess what? We've also got to play Ottawa. We've also got to play Boston. We've also got to play Columbus. So you know what I mean? The proof will come out in the pudding
Sure.
in the long run. But I'm just saying it's very interesting at that scramble at the bottom because no team can say that they're definitive because they're a 3-game losing streak from being called you ain't making it.
Yeah.
We're at that time of the year, right? And 20 games left, is it?
They're about
20 games left. I think the top's going to stay the same. I'm just saying this to your beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. Look at the score today. This is not a game to lose. Like, you guys got to think about it.
Right.
What's your biggest fear in Toronto? Come on. Who you play in the first round and you're already worried about it? Do you get Florida?
I'm not worried about it.
Good. You shouldn't be, but I mean, come on. You know the scuttlebutt. So who do you want to play in the first round? Do you want to play Tampa in the first round?
I don't know. I like the whole thing about choosing what team you play in the first round. Like
Doesn't matter. You got to beat who's in front
Exactly.
of you. I agree. So I'm not saying that, but I mean, you hear.
And it's also be careful what you wish for situations. So I mean, I
Ah.
had a friend ask me this, and I was just like, well, I said either Ottawa or Detroit, but it's more because of like other reasons, like, oh, well, it'd be nice to have a Battle of Ontario or like an original 6 matchup kind of thing. I don't think of it like, oh, the Leafs have a better chance beating them. Like,
Oh no, I don't.
you made the playoffs. It's gonna be a good team no matter what.
Exactly. I like your thinking on that because I don't hear that from the average pundit in Toronto. They don't talk like that. They're already scared of the first round. Is Mitch Marner going to play like he did in the Four Nations and show up for them? What's wrong with Austin Matthews? We need another defenseman.
Nothing's wrong with Austin Matthews. He's on an 8-game point
Absolutely
streak.
nothing. That's what I said. He doesn't score for a couple games. You watch Austin. You can go back and look at some of those games.
11 assists in his last 8 games. I'm fine with that.
Come on. And people don't understand. Why is he out there killing penalties now?
Well, because he's a good defensive player.
He is a great two-way player. And you know what? I don't think that gets talked about enough. Okay? My thing about this, and I'm going to beat this dead horse here, is set the lines and let them go. If you want to do your top 6, do whatever the hell you want. Leave that Domi, Robertson, McMahon line alone. Just leave it alone for the rest of the year. Now, if you want to do like sometimes...
Well, what if they bring in Braden Shen? Because that's what I want the Leafs to do. I want them to bring in Braden and Luke Shen.
What?
Reunite the brothers.
It's a family affair.
Hell yeah.
It's a family affair. I don't think either one of them's going to make that much of a difference.
I don't know about that. We saw Luke Shen and Morgan Riley as a great defensive pair a couple years ago in the playoffs. And Braden Shen is your number 3 center? Come on.
If I had to take to pick between the two of them, I'd take Luke over just because of the Riley factor. But I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to tell me I'm freaking nuts. I want to see Fraser Minton in the lineup for the playoffs. All the salary
He
cap
might be
people-
traded.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, the rumor is
He's
either
tearing
him.
it up.
Hold on. The rumor is either him or Cowan. are
Oh,
gonna be traded
either
by the
one. Do
deadline.
you want to let either one of those guys go at
Well,
that
Cowan,
age?
the way he's been going this season, his stock has dropped a little bit, so that has me a little worried.
He's only 19.
I understand.
Well,
He's going to be
turned
20.
Yeah, or just turned 20.
The World Juniors, he was not very good.
Didn't play with the right people. Didn't have the skill. He had plumbers with him.
We'll see.
Well, you know what I mean? But I'm saying Fraser Minton, he's tearing it up. The Marlies.
I'd rather hold on to him
Oh, no.
if I had to choose.
Oh, no. Right now, I will agree with you on that. I wouldn't want to let either one of them go.
No, but to make a big upgrade at the trade deadline, especially for a guy like Braden Shen who's got term on his contract, you're going to have to give up something.
What's he been doing since he's been whatever it is that he's been doing?
Who?
Braden Chen.
Well, he plays with shit St. Louis with nobody. Get him on a line with guys like Bobby McMahon and Robertson or Domi. Come on.
Perhaps, maybe, but I
Very much yes.
We're going to know by Friday. Okay? So, like, by Friday, we're going to be knowing all this. So, what do you think the other huge candidates are for the trade around the league? Who's going to steal what? What are you going to give up? Now, you know what
Well, there's a big trade last night we should discuss.
I didn't hear it.
The Chicago Blackhawks trade Seth Jones in a
Oh,
2026
right.
fourth-round pick to Florida for Spencer Knight and a round 1 pick.
I think that Florida was a little crazy to give up that first rounder, but Seth
And,
Jones back
and
then.
I mean, Spencer Knight's a pretty good goalie, too.
Yeah,
But like Seth Jones, I mean, Chicago's retaining $2.5 million on his contract, but like, I don't know for Florida.
35? How old is Seth Jones?
30.
Oh, he's only 30?
But he's got, let's see, 5 years left on his contract after this.
He's a good guy. He fits a Florida a Panthers defense.
But like, he's one of those guys, you see him defensively, sometimes you're like, is he, and like,
hold on to the puck too long.
yeah. I mean, they lost Montour last year. Is this the replacement that you want for him?
Oh, come on.
I
Who
don't
would
know,
you
but-
rather have?
And now if Bobrovsky goes down for Florida, like,
Ooh.
yeah, knock on wood. Not that we want that.
I think that Montour made a funny move because he looks great on Seattle, but that team is They're a big work in progress. But
part of me wonders how much longer Ron Francis is going to have a job there.
Oh, it's getting scary. But they beat Vancouver last night.
Where are they in the standings though? Nowhere to be seen in the playoff race.
But when Montour's on the ice, you see him every night.
I get that.
Did you think he just went for the bag?
Of course he did.
Because, man...
I mean, he probably also thought Seattle would be a better team because he's like, we're going to get Montour, we're going to get Chandler Stevenson. We beat Colorado in the first round of the playoffs a couple years ago. You're thinking, okay. On paper, I think I had them in the playoffs.
I believe he did. Where's Montour from?
He's Canadian.
How come he didn't make our team?
I mean, too many guys like him. He's more of like an offensive specialist. We already had some guys that could play power play. Need some bangers like Parayko and those kind of guys, right?
I think that he'll be in line.
I think it was a redundancy.
A bit. But I think we'll see by the time Christmas comes next year and when they pick the team, I think Montour will be on one of the guys that's on the sheet. Like
I'll bet you a beer on that. He won't be on the team.
I'm not saying he's on the team, but I'm saying he's going to get a look.
Well, he's probably going to invite to like that summer camp, fine. But like, I'm not going to put him on that team. I'm going to wait and see. I can't see him as them thinking that he's one of Canada's top 8 defensemen. No way. If there was a Canada B team, he'd be on there for sure.
Oh, so he's a Hull of good?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so I'm going to make a bold statement right now. And I seen your little graphic about Bedard, which is just horrible. Okay?
Oh, that one.
Oh, God, I didn't realize that. Here's my bold statement. Celebrini plays on the Olympic team next year.
I don't hate that take.
I think he's going to play. He's got to learn how to play defense a little better. Did you see? That's who he played. No, that's how they scored, yeah. Did you see Caulfield strip Celebrini in overtime?
I did not.
Oh, my God. That's my boy. I'm glad he made a mistake when he did. Caulfield.
Well, he's a rookie.
Caulfield undressed him. Here's the lesson I've learned about Caulfield, okay? I wasn't his biggest backer. You know that. As a Hab guy, I wasn't his biggest backer because I had questions about some of the ways you got to play in the NHL. The difference between a Bedard and a Caulfield is, and this Bedard's going to learn, somewhere out there, Caulfield went to the gym. He still gets knocked around a bit, but he's a lot stronger on the puck than he was just, say, 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. And that's a difference because he'll hit a guy, come off him, he doesn't get pushed in the corner. He'll bounce off the guy, get in the front.
Well, he's built well for a little guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't this strong 18 months ago. You can see he's got way more power on him, too, which you got to give Suzuki credit because him from the waist down is freaking, they're solid. So I'm just saying, I don't see no size difference in Bedard. Okay? And you need some size in the league unless you're freaking Paul Correa kind of deal. But I've noticed you're right. When you look at Celebrini, they're built differently. Celebrini may be only 5'11", 5'10", but you see how wide he is?
Yep.
So he got a frame that you can build on. You know what I mean? He can be one of those 5'11", 40-goal scorers. It's a matter of time. But the thing I like about Celebrini more than Bedard is Bedard keeps trying to get in the center, and he gets knocked off everywhere. Celebrini will go inside, outside, but he's got that Swede that he plays with every day, that either one of them...
And they're playing him with Tivoli now, too.
Exactly. And not only that, one of those guys goes to the empty space. Like, I noticed him as the Habs, like, that's chemistry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I agree with you on that. I just don't think Bedard's getting the size. Like, he's going to have to... In the offseason, he's going to have to be... He's got the offensive skills. Let's not deny the guy.
Oh, 100%.
Like, the guy's natural talent is there. But, I mean, all the greats that we have seen have evolved a little bit quicker than he is. And Celebrini was not one bit as celebrated as Bedard. Let's get that out of the way right away. He was never as celebrated as...
He was still very highly touted, though.
Look at him now.
Yeah.
He's like, right now, if I had to pick between the two of them, I'm not even questioning it. Besides the fact that I will say this, Celebrini's got to learn to play a little more defense.
Sure.
I will say that.
Most young kids do, though.
Yeah, he does. But, I mean, he's got all the other tools. And I'm calling him as a guy that's going to play in Canada next year. You know what I mean? I don't know what the San Jose team's going to do because it looks like got some pieces. But what's going to make them going to take the next step? Like, their salary cap's a little bit
I mean, they're still a couple years away. But
at least a couple years away because of their back end. You never know what's going to happen. But I seen them for a period last night against Montreal. We had trouble getting past center ice. Like, they just kept coming at us in waves. But then, of course, we decided to skate a little bit faster than we were skating to, and it worked out in the long run. But
well, speaking of Celebrini, looks like he has some competition again for the Calder.
what's his name suddenly raised his head?
Michkov in Philadelphia. Scored a ton of goals these last couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. And you know what it is? I
With
think,
less ice time, like a less average ice time than Celebrini.
But I think now is that Torts is finally letting him freelance a little more. You know what I mean? Like, you see some of his goals?
Yeah.
Oh, I got the puck. Here I go. You know, and nothing wrong with a player like that. You know who he reminds me a tiny bit of? Kovalchuk.
Kovalchuk, yeah.
Kovalchuk. You know, the guy that went back to Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had that illegal contract with New Jersey, all
Yeah,
that.
that guy. Yeah. Do you notice, you know what I'm saying? There's a little bit, because you know how Kovalchuk would do that shit sometimes. Just take the puck, make that move, and away he goes. And I like the way he plays, but he's another guy. He won't stay in the league that long. He's got to learn to play more defense, though. Because sometimes he's so far down the ice when the play is going. It's hilarious. You know what I mean? Good player, though.
Sure.
Look at his way he shoots the puck. You know what I mean?
That's why I chose him at the beginning of the season to win the Calder.
He's right in there now. You know what I mean? And my boy Houston, he's like there, and he isn't. Hudson. But I think
what's going to hurt him is his plus minus as a defenseman.
I was just going to say, when he learns to play defense and not left wing, that he's going to be there. You know what I mean? Because now, is Celebrini a rookie?
He is.
Yeah, okay. So
yeah, he just got drafted.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So the Calder's down to basically those three, right?
I would say so.
No, what about the defenseman? Lasky or somebody? We're missing a defenseman.
I think the race is really between those three, though. Celebrini, Hudson, and Michkov.
But the other defenseman is playing better defensively, and he's a bigger guy.
Yeah, but points are really
he's
what
older
steal the
too.
show. Yeah,
he's older too because they groomed him a bit. I'll find out who he is.
Yeah, the Calder race, it basically comes down to points, goals more so when you come down to forwards.
So
if you look at it historically,
okay, so so let's look at it this way. Just since we're on this subject for a second, would you rather have Michkov or Celebrini?
Going forward,
Celebrini.
Oh,
okay.
Because he's a center.
Yeah. Okay.
But if we're talking about right now for the Calder race, I mean,
he's there.
I'd give the edge to Michkov now just because of goals.
And not only that, look at all the shit that he went through this year, and he's still doing what he's doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got Torts as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, you give someone the choice, Celebrini or Michkov. I'm not complaining if either one of those guys is on my team.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And look, Michkov's not the biggest guy out there either.
No, he's built pretty thick, though.
It's the thick.
Yeah.
It's the thick that makes the difference. And, yeah, he's a good hockey player, freelancer. He's going to be like that his whole career. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Very Russian.
I didn't want to say that because it sounds, but very extremely Russian. You know what I mean? He also reminds me of Kovalev that used to play for Montreal and Ottawa. Mm-hmm. He dances.
I hated Kovalev.
Another guy that never ever seen his own blue line. I love the guy when he's with the Habs.
Oh, I bet you did.
But
always scoring from that same spot in the face-off circle. Oh, that used to be driving me nuts.
He'd park there, pull up his car, get out, have a cigarette, wait for the puck, bang. Imagine if a guy like that.
But the worst. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Imagine if that guy tried 100% all the time. How good would he have been? Oh.
You heard about his video game addiction when he was younger, right?
Oh, I heard they were going to take it away from him.
Yeah. Oh, Matthews, let's go.
There you go.
Yeah,
I heard about that. And when he wasn't there, he was in some reputable Montreal drinking establishment. So.
I think the video game thing was more early in his career when he was with New York. But yeah.
And then he moved along, and next thing you know, he's in Montreal with all his Russian buddies in Little Russia. And then we had that to deal with. So he was a character.
Oh, yeah.
But I always thought if he tried harder, he would have scored 40 goals 10 times. He had all this.
Yeah, never scored 40 with Montreal, which surprised me when I went back to look at it.
Yeah, I never did. He scored 40 with Ottawa, right?
No, that was later in his career. Probably like New York and Pittsburgh, he would have scored 40.
Yeah, because 1 year he scored 40. I know that. But that guy was just amazing. Amazing, but we had the R word.
Yeah.
I had the R word.
Well, I mean, hey, some are built different, like Ovechkin and Datsuk. A little bit more about Ovechkin, but I was going to say the year that drove me nuts was the year. So you had Kovalev from his spot, and then Surrey scored like 20 goals from the blue line.
Remember that year?
Oh,
yeah.
They took the money in Edmonton, and you never heard from him again.
Never heard. Because he had the right place in Montreal.
Yeah, and Markov feeding him the puck there from the blue line.
And it was great. And but you know what, Surrey, that I always said we let him go. And
another good Russian, Markov. Gonchar.
But you know what? There's two types of Russians. Is that what we're going to say? You get this type or that type?
Yeah.
I'll go with the Markov. type of Russian. But what were we just saying now about those guys playing? I completely lost my train of thought. Saray, when he got traded, the big red flag on him was scoring 1 million goals. CS plus minus. So when we went there, Serge, if you're listening, at the time, Serge and I had discussions about how valuable he is. And I said, well, he can score. Serge, so look at him just get beat. Look, guys, because remember guys would fly around him. If he didn't get him up against the boards.
Yeah, like if you're taking him in his prime versus Brian McCabe in his prime, I would take McCabe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I seen a thing with McCabe on some reel the other day. Maybe it was a Chiclet show where how he got bounced around early in his career. Ooh.
He's one of those guys, like, how do you get traded so many times? Vancouver, Chicago, Islanders.
In the period of time, though. The period of time was like nothing. Like he was like 4 seasons, 3 teams. Like, whoa, what did he do wrong?
Exactly.
But I heard he liked to have fun.
Well, Shanahan was like that too in the 90s for a little bit.
Yeah, I guess.
Because he got bounced around a lot too, like New Jersey, St. Louis.
Yeah, but sometimes it wasn't his own deal because he was a part of trades.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean, well, so was McCabe though. I mean, each of those guys were getting traded for good players, which you can make the argument fine, but like still, like this is Brendan Shanahan guy that you traded like 1 million times, right?
He was in the Pronger deal.
Yeah, he was in the Scott Stevens deal.
He was in the Scott Stevens deal. So look, like historically saying, he sits at home and go, hey, well, I was involved in trade. Look who was involved in the trade. You know what I mean?
And then Detroit made the big one, trading Paul Coffey to get him, which was the difference in them winning the Cups.
Stanley Cup, yeah. So he's on there. But it was interesting when I had heard about McCabe and how many times he had moved, and sometimes because these guys all like that's why Biz is so funny. Like every time he refers to something, he goes off the ice. Which is a little bit of an inside thing when you talk about hockey. Oh yeah, this, and this, but he was hammering beers. Where are they?
I love Biz Nasty.
How can you not? He's so real, eh? He is so real.
Well, the minute he joined that podcast, they took off too because he wasn't on there originally.
No, it can come out. But I think what really made it is his openness. You know what I mean? And he played with some good players.
Well, he was on those Penguins teams with Crosby early on.
There you go. So like he was on there, and you know what? He's genuine. That's and the best people we like to listen to are genuine people. And I love when they talk about the old scores because then they talk about stuff about like Brett Hull, should he be on the ice for the last minute of the game? Well, he shouldn't be because he's defensive liability. Then they tie it up in overtime, and Hull goes on the ice, doesn't come off. Meanwhile, 72 goals minus 3.
Yeah.
And I liked Hull. I did.
He was number 3 in all-time goals for a little bit there.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny though when you think about it. Hey, you scored 72 goals, and I forget what his.
He had an 80-something goal season too.
Yeah, when you look at his plus minus though.
I mean, some of those St. Louis teams were pretty brutal though.
And he was getting all the goals on power play. He's sitting in his office on the power play because that release. Whoo! And he wasn't the greatest skater.
No. Well, that's why he fell to the 6th round or something in the draft.
Yeah, because it wasn't a great skater. He reminds me of Luc Robitaille, same thing. Wasn't a great skater, knew how to put the puck in the net, which makes a big difference. We'll see what these guys are going to move at the trade deadline. We'll probably have a full report for the next show, right?
Yeah, because trade deadline is on Friday
or Thursday.
Friday. A bit of an odd day to have it on. Usually it's like a Monday or no, Tuesday usually.
But I think they moved it a couple of days farther ahead this year too.
Well, probably because of the Four Nations, maybe. I don't know.
So yeah, because it's actually a couple of on the schedule. It's actually not anything significant.
No, nothing crazy.
But it's a couple. I think it's like 72 hours difference or something ridiculous like that. Nothing that the average fan is even going to care about or we should be talking about. You know what I mean?
We mentioned Russians before. Alex Ovechkin, 12 goals away now from passing Wayne Gretzky for the all-time goals.
How can you not like Ovechkin? He's playing his heart out right now.
I think 99.9% of the hockey world is rooting for him right now.
Oh, yeah.
How can you not?
You'd be nuts not to. He's
Glenn Sather.
We always got some old guy like me out there just being a fuck, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's always one of me out there somewhere. You see, as we were talking about it, we hate to decide it like that. There's 2 kinds of Russian hockey players. He went to the Markov school.
Yep.
That's how you got to look at it. You know what I mean? Like, you ever see Ovechkin take a game off?
Never.
Thank you. You know what I mean? And the master of a reverse hit. which we'll get to.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Also give big kudos to Mark Scheifele, who became the Winnipeg Atlanta franchise all-time leader in goals, surpassing Ilya Kovalchuk with his 329th.
Every time I see that guy play, I do not understand why he was not on. He's got to get an Olympic call-up. And they're going to bring him out to camp and cut him?
Well, there's also an extra forward on the roster now, so the chances of him making the roster increased by one.
Do you see the guy play hockey lately?
I know.
Come on. That guy is on. I mean, his line helps him, too, with Kyle Connor and what's his name. That's a great line. One of the best lines.
Still can't believe Kyle Connor was scratched for that final.
Thank
you, America.
Yeah, okay. But you know what I mean? I don't understand. Like, I seen him play. They lost last night, though, didn't they? They puked it up. I think they took the day off against Philly. Didn't they lose against Philly yesterday?
Yes, they did.
Okay. It looked like it was an afternoon game. They're waiting
game.
to get, they were afternoon game. Let's get out of here and go have some beers because we don't play until Monday or Tuesday, whatever the case may be. But for the time he was on the ice, you noticed him every time. What a great skater. You know, with a great release. That's why I don't understand. Like, I'm going to harp on this. I hope next year what we do is
we've all heard the attitude dressing room rumors.
Biz, get some info. Get some intel on us, Biz. Let us know what.
I bet you none of the Canadian guys are going to say anything either way.
They're all Wayne Gretzky-ish like that. Okay, remember it.
Yeah,
remember. They're all like that because the other thing that's coming up, and they were talking about it, and you keep telling this too, I seen some guys on MLB, on
NHL Network
arguing about Logan Thompson. Arguing about everything except for the freaking elephant in the room.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Got nobody. But this.
Well, it's because no one's going to confirm anything. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, as an average fan, I want to take my chance. Bring him out. You know what I mean? Goalies are weird anyway. Didn't we say that? Look at the guy this year. He's one of the main reasons that Washington is where they are. You know what I mean? I think Washington's going to go hunt for a defenseman at the trade deadline.
Another defenseman.
Yeah, I think they do because I think they do. They got to toughen up a bit. They're going to look like because their defense is solid. They don't have bangers though. A couple guys have bang. But I mean, Wilson's on that team to keep order, so they're lucky that way. And Ovechkin plays the way that he does, and all the forwards are go forward. I love their forecheck. That's what I love about the team. Love their forecheck.
They will smother you.
Oh my God! Then they come out there, and you know what? They're not, when it gets open, they're not afraid to open up a bit, especially if the score is low. They will open it up because they got the skaters to do it. But I think they're going to be the ones there because my prediction is I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the first round knockouts. Blew their load through the whole season to get there, and then they get there, and someone sneaks up behind them like a
Depends on the matchup.
Tampa.
No, Tampa's probably not going to be a wild card team though at this point.
No, they won't be.
If they're playing like a Columbus or a Ottawa or Detroit, I don't.
Yeah, they should get around. Yeah, you're right. They're right.
Second round, once they play like a Carolina, then things start to get interesting. But
yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. They should be pretty secure in that. Why haven't we said anything about the New Jersey Devils?
What's there to say?
Okay.
Also, forgot to shout out William Nylander. He hit 251 goals, ties Bob Pulford for 10th most all-time in Leafs history.
Willie, do whatever the hell you want. Didn't he score today?
I don't believe so.
Every time I see too bad. Glad that wrist thing was only a game. They iced him up and he was okay. Because remember at the end of that overtime, he didn't get on the ice?
Yeah.
Because he got a slash. Guys do slash at him, though, because the way he dipsy doodles. No, he's not a dipsy doodle, but you know when he goes in.
Skates, yeah.
Yeah, and then guys, the last second, they like, he's going by me in the stick. Yeah. I hate that.
I hate that too.
You know what I mean? You got beat. Now, I shouldn't say that because I grew up in hockey where you get two-hand lumbers for that shit back in the day. You know what I mean? Or you get can openered by McCabe. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. So, but Nylander, like, come on. He hasn't, you know what he's been doing lately, though? He's had his chances, but he's stuck on that 33 goals, isn't he?
No, he got a goal the other night against New York.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
It didn't look like it was going to be his. I thought it was going to be a Tavares goal, but they awarded it to him.
Didn't you think that a lot of that replay shit they were doing in the New York game the other night got, like, come on, do it quicker? Like some of the decisions, some of the looks, some did it go over the line, didn't it go over the line? Like, how did they have to replay that goal? It was in the fucking net.
I know we're watching it too. We're like, come on, that's got to be a goal.
Come on! And then they showed the other angles. Like it took them over the angles, and I go, and then what did it take about 2 minutes? 2 minutes?
Took a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
At least a minute.
Oh yeah, longer than it should have took. Modern technology. Metrics, analytics.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with hockey. I don't know why they don't just
put
put
a puck was in the net.
Just put a sensor in the puck. That solves a lot of issues.
Now I'll become American, then I'll start flashing on the ice, drive us nuts. But, yeah, I was stunned at that. I was stunned. You know, when they, no goal? And I was with a pack of Leaf fans at the moment, so we were just dissing them. It's going to be a New York call. Don't they have to make the playoffs? Shut up, Cruz.
Yeah, but they make that call in Toronto, so.
That's true. Oh, it was a goal, though, bro. Come on.
I
just went, what? And then when they put up the thing, we're all, what? Took you this long?
Either way.
25? Help me out.
Either way, it was a pretty good week for the Leafs. I know they didn't face any exactly tough competition, but a big comeback against Boston.
Oh, that was the game of the week by far. You know what I mean? They look a little lackluster. And who was one of the guys that sprung up and helped them in a tight situation when you show up for a big game?
Mitch Marner.
Holmberg,
your boy, getting the tying goal there too.
I would have got it too. The banging around the net.
Right place at the right time, buddy.
Oh, yeah. He's a big boy too, eh?
Riley's starting to look good coming out of the Four Nations break as well, I would say.
Yes, he's played much, much better. And he's been playing with what's his name really consistently. Tatum's back now yet, or he's got one more game to go?
I don't think he's back yet.
He is so solid on him and McCabe.
And actually, Connor Dewar is back for the Leafs now too in this game today.
Oh, really?
Starting to get healthy. We're just waiting for I think it's just Yarncroke and Tanev now that are hurt. Oh, and Pacioretty's hurt again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where's he going to get his place in? They're going to give it to him because of experience, but
game one of the playoffs, I don't know if he's going to be on that roster or on in the lineup.
If he earns it, how do you look at it that way?
He's going to have to step it up again. I mean, I don't mind having him on the team, but I mean, I can't justify him getting a spot in the lineup the way he's going. I'd rather have other guys.
He's already popped out of the toaster, as far as I'm concerned. Remember the over-under for him was what? Can he play 60 games? Is he going to play 60 games? No.
How many games is he at now? Let me see.
I don't think he can make 60 games.
He's at 37, so yeah, he's not going to get
He's not going to get the 60 games, and that was a part of the reasons that they're going to want to have him there. You know what I mean? And they put Robertson in the press box on a few occasions when Pacioretty got in.
Yeah, Robertson took his spot, basically.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he's earned it.
Yeah.
He's earned it. You're going to start the playoffs now. Who are you going to put in the lineup? Robertson or Pacioretty?
Oh, yeah, I go Robertson.
It's over. It's a done deal. I keep saying about that line. That's the way it should be. Let's go. Let them get going. The other thing that you guys have got going for you, too, and it's the combination that's worked around the league. Who's got a better goalie tandem in the league right now than Toronto?
Nobody.
Thank you very much. Now, I think it's going to be interesting when they have to decide who's going to be the starter first game. And are you going to run with them all the way, or do you do the thing like in Boston? You both play a game. Who gets hotter, you go. And they understand.
Well, I think they're going to go Stolarz game one and then just kind of take it from there.
What if Wall's the hotter guy going down? We don't know.
We don't know, but Stolarz has been better this year.
Fractionally.
His save percentage is much better this year, though.
Much better than Wall's?
Yeah. I think he's like 10, 15 points higher.
I don't know if it's that high, but I always say the circumstances end the games. And shots on
Still,
goal.
though, this is the hard numbers where it's much higher. Let me see. So Joseph Wall is at a 910. Stolarz is 927.
Both good.
Stolarz has been like top of the league.
No, he's top
numbers,
3.
Though.
Last time I heard, he was top 3.
Okay, well, among the top.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I respect save percentage, but I've got my caveats when it comes to that. Trust me, you know what I mean. Look,
I think you just got to use that as a tiebreaker because neither one of those goalies makes you nervous when he goes in.
Oh no.
So at that point, then I turn to the hard facts, the hard numbers.
Okay, so let's look at it right now. Second period, 6 minutes left to go. Pittsburgh's got 25 shots on goal. How many games in the last week did you see they only gave up 25 shots? So now Wall's under a different situation this game and everything, and this is going to affect his save percentage. And a couple of those goals that we just seen was not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that's when I argue about save percentage. Now, if Wall makes all those big saves in the third period, I don't give a fuck about what happened in the first period.
Agreed, but Stolarz is that guy too, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Those percentages get skewered a bit by the circumstances that you get presented in
I
a
get
particular
that, but
game.
okay, but both those guys can basically do that same thing. So I'm just saying, as a tiebreaker, then I go to the numbers. I think that's fair.
Okay, I'll accept that for now. You know, but as we can see right in front of us,
I got nothing against Wall. You know that. You know that.
Dr. Cruz fighting analytics right in front of my face. I love it.
I don't see what you're fighting there, but
I'm an in the moment guy.
Okay.
I'm in the moment guy. So if you give up 3 beach balls in the first period and you look at Binnington, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, he didn't give up any beach balls in the final.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm okay with that. And his save percentage was nothing fantastic in that series. You know what I mean? So the balance. But you're right. If it comes down to that and that's a decision as a tiebreaker, I'll accept that. I don't have a problem. But you guys have no problem in goal.
No, absolutely not.
That's number one, 100%.
What about Craig Berube's line? Ah, shit. What about Craig Berube's line about Rempe going into Friday night's game?
I didn't hear it.
Because he was asked about, I guess about why Ryan Reeves is in the lineup, and Rempe is like, oh, that Ryan Reeves, he's an effective player.
Oh, gee. I almost text you when I seen Reeves in the lineup and the light bulb went on. Oh, yeah, look who they're playing. You got to...
Yeah, because you can't let Rempe get around with doing any stupid shit, right?
But I think that Toronto is... this is a tougher Toronto team than I've seen in years. McKay...
Yeah, but I mean, if it comes down to that, you don't want to be caught with your pants down, right? Because Rempe could be a fucking moron.
Oh, really? You're kidding me.
Somehow has more goals in this calendar year than Elias Pettersson, but I won't go there.
Oh, did you see that stat? I went, what? When I seen that one on the screen, I said, and you want to trade for Pettersson?
I don't want to trade for Pettersson, but he definitely needs a change of scenery.
What happened to that guy?
I just think the Vancouver situation just got so fucking rotten.
Okay, so that's got to be...
I think maybe just the way Tocchet's coaching style just isn't connecting with him. Because under Travis Green, this was not a problem. And that's no shot at Rick Tocchet. Sometimes there's just a
doesn't
barrier
fit in
there.
Yeah, this is like the situation like a Torts coach. Some guys don't play for Torts. You don't play that way. Tocchet's respect as a coach around the league is freaking mega. You know, he knows the game. He knows the situation. He knows what to do. Yep. So maybe it didn't work for him. But then they got rid of JT Miller too. So which kind of player is Tocchet supposed to be wanting to coach?
Well, I think Miller, that was a separate issue.
Schmuck.
Because last year, Miller was doing great under Rick Tocchet, right? It's just him and Pettersson's situation came to a head.
And they lost a good player, perhaps maybe two. Because it's going to be, you know what, this is, if say
Pettersson's going to be gone probably in the offseason if he's not gone by the trade deadline.
Yeah, I agree. But you got to admit this. Vancouver missing the playoffs is an organizational failure.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Come on. Some people said that they could maybe make a run for the top of the division.
In my preseason show, I said it'd be them, Edmonton, and Vegas, a 3-way fight for that division lead.
Yeah.
And 2/3 of that prediction looks pretty good.
Pretty good right now. But Vancouver, and I think...
they're awful.
But I think I was a little bit on the Vancouver bandwagon too, if you look back. I said, oh yeah, they're like we were saying, who's going to make the playoffs and then who's going to come along? I had Vancouver in the playoffs. Yeah. I never doubted that they wouldn't be in the playoffs. I didn't know what's going on in the dressing room. That's what we never know about hockey. Personalities, off ice, blah, blah, blah. How's your dog?
Well, we knew there was a personality clash between Miller and Pettersson, but we didn't know it was this bad.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the problem. And when you got two players of that caliber in your dressing room,
top two centers,
and not only that, what are the guys in the dressing room thinking? You got to come in every day. And you know what I love about Vancouver? Nobody took sides. Like the players, they kept it in. Like that's why I give Tocchet a good coaching point. Because you never heard anybody taking sides.
Well, I would give credit to Quinn Hughes on that as well, the captain.
Oh, yeah. Give him too. And it's too bad that he's banged up a bit. He's not 100%. You seen him last night. He's definitely not 100%. But I think it's an organizational disaster for Vancouver to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. I think they could be one of those teams like Boston next year where they just rebound and get right back in.
Because they got the pieces. They had a couple more on. There's some salary cap room. We'll get another guy. I think they're going to be fine that way.
Yeah.
But it's very disappointing. And here's another thing I'm thinking about it. From this perspective, because I'm a proud Canadian, the more Canadian teams I can get in the playoffs, the happier I am. And they were one of the prospects that was going to be in the playoffs for sure. And now they're struggling for their life.
Yeah, but now Calgary kind of took their spot. So it's kind of
I don't know. I'm not totally sold on any of that yet about Calgary.
Who do you think is taking Calgary's spot then?
I don't know. St. Louis hasn't disappeared. I thought we were done with them.
I think they're going to sell.
That's the rumor. Yeah. Because they put a couple guys on the block.
Bennington potentially could be moved as well.
Bennington is one of the guys the blocks that they were saying. Who else at the defense?
Yeah, because Edmonton and Edmonton's in on Bennington, and then I hear Carolina and Edmonton, whoever doesn't get Bennington is going to go after John Gibson on Anaheim.
All right. But who's the defenseman on St. Louis?
Braco? No.
No, the other guy. Younger guy. I forget. He's had an okay season.
But they're going to trade him?
They mentioned there's a defenseman on St. Louis, but not that guy. I forget who. What's their lineup?
Broberg? The guy they got from Edmonton?
No, another guy. 25-year-old.
Tyler Tucker?
Oh, that name came up. And he's only getting 18 minutes a night anyway.
13.
So, yeah, so that's
He's only played 20 games.
Well, that's what they're saying. He's a guy that maybe has to move somewhere else. Big boy.
Sure.
Big boy. That's what I'm saying. I think that the real key is this, and it's going to heat up by Thursday, is I don't see Rantanen staying in Carolina.
It's going to be an interesting next few days.
I don't see Rantanen staying in Carolina. First of all, whatever he said in Colorado to chase him out of there, we know something wrong with money.
Well, the agent, potentially.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we don't know what went on there. Nothing, not that my respect for agents is, it's that tremendous. But that's coming out now. Something went on there. Then he went to freaking Carolina, and then the agent gave him a contract proposal. Come on, bro. Come on. What are you going to do with the guy? So you better bail and get what you're going to get. The interesting thing is, who would take him?
I mean, there's a bunch of temes that could use wingers. Minnesota's one that comes immediately to mind.
Columbus.
L.A.,
because LA needs that one more scorer.
Yeah.
Definitely, because they're pretty solid as a team. Who's going to take him, though? He's going to have to deal
maybe Detroit? I think defense is more of a priority.
Oh, I do too. But Steven Yzerman don't deal with those kind of guys. His history says, fuck you. Going back to with Drouin in Tampa Bay and shit like that. When he started seeing that kind of shit, you were out of town. That's his MO. So I don't think he'd bring that guy into town. All the talent in the world. Come on. But what's he done in Carolina?
Not much.
I think he's got 2 points and he's -6.
Tie game again. Yes. Johnny T, let's go.
What do you give him next year?
We've talked about this. If it's in the $7 million range, I'm
then
jumping for joy.
He's staying. I thought he'd get less.
Yeah. Nice, baby. You're going to owe me a beer at the end of the season. I love it.
Here's the deal. Even Stanley didn't even move for that goal. And look at when they scored it.
Oh, right at the end of the period. Oh.
Is it under review?
I know, we'll see.
Oh, what bad defense. Terrible goaltending. Look at this.
Well, to Pittsburgh, we alluded to the dumpster fire.
Look at this. Crosby must have just had
that went in before the green light.
Yep. Yes, it did. Yeah, it's a goal. It's a goal.
Yeah, that's good. Nice, baby.
Okay, so this is now that we're here and we're in the moment and we are live. Okay. Oh, by the way, the Toronto
Two goals in a minute.
Wait a second. I'm not going to go there yet. I'm going to go to this. Toronto at Pittsburgh, when they need the game, supposed to be tightened up defensively. What's the score after 2 periods?
5-4.
How many shots on goal?
Between the two teams, it's 52, I guess.
The average game's about 56 shots.
You should love this. You've been complaining about the
I'm glad, but I didn't think that these guys were sieves. That's a terrible goal. Come on. Happy for Nyes. Terrible goal.
That's fine. You take them.
Yep. Yeah, that's what you do. So it's going to be quite interesting.
Nyes, 23rd of the season.
Might get 30, eh?
He will get 30.
He's just a great player.
Might be on Team USA at the Olympics next year.
He's going to get it. Oh, he'll get a bigger look. Oh, yeah. And you know what he could have used? Because we were so much faster than they were. Nyes can fly.
That's so funny because the knock on him coming out of college was his skating.
Have you seen
I see no problem with it.
I was just going to say, I don't see anything wrong with this guy skating. And I don't even like, I even like at that speed going into corners, he's turning into your prototypical, like we said before, power forward.
Yeah.
You know? And he's playing with guys that he's learning with, guys that are sharp. You know what I mean? He's not playing with bums.
Nope.
You know, so that makes a big difference. But, yeah, good for him. I hope he scores 30. He should get a look. He'll be a guy that gets a look on the Canadian team, so to speak.
So we're almost running at 3 hours. Do you want to get into reverse hits quickly?
That's what we're going to do really quickly, okay?
So I sent you a video talking about reverse hits and about the legality of it in the league. And at first you think, oh, what's the problem with it? I've seen interference. I've seen
leave your feet, leave the ice.
Charging.
Yes.
Elbowing, hits to the head, all there.
Every last one of them.
There were some clean ones in there.
And some of them were inadvertent. I will say that. But
a
one
penalty is a penalty.
A penalty is a penalty is a penalty. I actually watched it. It took me about a day or so to get to it. And I watched it. And then I went and said, okay, give this a break, take a couple notes, and come back and watched it again. I could not and I remember those games, as I told you, from real time, how egregious some of those hits were. Like, that's some of that solid acting. You see the guy coming, you turn your head like you don't see him coming, and you're ready for him. Ooh.
Oh, and the big problem is like some of these guys are coming in, they're not expecting one. Two, sometimes their body language is, they're not even going in for that hit initially. So that's causing a big issue there.
And when the puck leaves the stick.
Yeah.
Like this is the grayest. I have no idea to say what they're going to do about it. But I will go with your school as a penalty is a penalty. You leave your feet.
That's charging.
Automatically. I don't care if you're the guy's coming at you and you leave your feet. That should be standard, and the head.
Yeah.
Then just put that in the book. So no matter, it's like, when you hack the guy's stick and you break it and you go to the box, then I think that would clean it up a bit. If you do either one of those, then you got to say that's enough. You know what I mean? Because some of those ones, man, they're taking guys' heads off.
Man, a bunch of them were to the head.
But here's the other caveat. You got to understand. Some of those times, those guys were coming in because I got them. Okay? And Datsuk said, really?
Datsuk was the king of that.
Oh, no kidding. And who else was in that video a couple times? A couple other guys.
Pedersen had a couple in there.
Big boy, too. Big boy. So, but you know what I mean? You could almost see it. And then when they would slow it down, then they'd show the hit in real time. Then they'd slow it down for you. How could the referee pick that up in real time?
Well, that's something you got to train the refs to just be more aware of, right? You show them video, be like, hey, this is charging. The guy left his feet.
So I'm going to say those two.
This one, the guy was 3 feet away from the puck when he's making space for himself.
Automatically, that's interference because a couple of those calls, that has tightened up in the NHL. You do that now. If you do that now, you're going to the box because it's like they say. But then again, it's a question of, did the puck leave his puck a nanosecond ago? Was it a nanosecond and a half? Mm-hmm. It's so gray. And you know what I mean? And sometimes it's part of hockey. You can't take the hitting away. I think what it is, something like Datsuk, the smart player that he was, and it's hilarious when we talk about Selke and him.
Oh, no, well, the Lady Bing.
I mean, Lady Bing.
The fight was the little part where they show one of the dirty reverse hits, and then they show him winning the Lady Bing. That was funny.
Because he's a smart guy. So what happens is sometimes the guy that's doing the hit, he's got to get smarter too. You think you got the guy, then you better be ready for how you're going to hit the guy. Some guys will just plow you through the boards, and that's not right either. But you know what I'm saying? A couple of those times these guys come in like, I got him.
Yep.
I'm on my ass. So there's that thing. And that's what makes it so great.
Yeah.
Because it's a contact sport. But I think that the only, don't bring me in the committee's rule when I come in there, because the only thing I'm going to say is I'm with you. Headshot, get the guy in the head. Either of you don't, it was inadvertent. We don't know it's inadvertent. We're going to say.
There's nothing in the NHL rule book about intent. It's you did it or you didn't.
So that's what they got to define, and I think that's what's going to come up, because this is starting to it's starting to snowball a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried it's going to get to the point where someone gets really hurt and then they finally jump on it. This is something that the league could easily get in front of, especially those like charging interference, hit to the head ones. Those could easily be cleaned up.
That's what I'm saying, the main ones there. But here's the other part of it that I don't like. Why do they got to have a scrap after some of these?
No, well, that's your classic problem here.
Then I said, because then they show how many times there's a scrap. Well, who is responsible for the scrap? The guy trying to run the guy, or the guy that did the reverse hit?
Yeah, that's a systematic issue in the NHL in general now, though.
It is.
And there's a big scrum all of a sudden, right?
No, well, you know what? Then let's go back to the days. If you came down the ice and you got crushed, then you should have kept your head up. That's how I go at it. Like when what's his name from Calgary, our Toronto guy.
But then the problem is guys are going to be like, oh, why didn't you defend your teammate?
Wait, okay. If you're dumb enough to go through the center of the ice with your hands in your pockets and you get Scott Stevens, I can't help you. You got to keep your head up. My favorite one.
There's got to be some response.
Okay, my favorite check of all time is, Serge, I hope that you're listening to this. The classic Quebec Montreal rivalry. Did you ever see, not Peter Stastny, did you ever see Anton Stastny play? The reason why he wasn't good as his brother, because he was the dipsy doodle check. Mm-hmm. So this one time he snuck over, so he beat the two-line pass, and he had his head down. Robinson seen him coming from another area code. All Robinson did was step in the way, and this guy looked like he just got UFC'd. He was dummy. He hit the height. Now, did a couple guys come looking? Oh, look at the size of Robinson. Robinson going, you got a problem? Got a problem? So that ended. Ever since he beat up Selesky, nobody would fight Robinson. People don't realize that. Robinson didn't get any fights anymore. He was in a couple years in the league. He just beat the fuck out of a couple of the toughest guys in the league. I remember Selesky and Sports, but when I see that's what they should do. Go back. There's enough tape in hockey. Excuse me. There's enough tape in hockey. Go back and say, I don't think all those Scott Stevens hits were legal.
No.
Okay, so, and he didn't get penalties on him.
No.
Okay, the game has changed, so we got to take that away. If you run a guy, if I see you run my guy, I'm defending you. If you got your head down, you get nailed, they get back to the bench. Hey, buddy, keep your head up, because there's a very fine line on that too. You know what I'm talking about? It's a bit of a gray area in there, but this is a violent game. Okay?
Yeah.
Keep your head up. I don't go for any of the goonery. I don't go for any of those cheap hits. All that other shit be taken out. But this reverse hit thing is extremely interesting. And I seen 3 of them last night. Mm-hmm. And none of them were called. None of them were called. None of them were called in the corner. And one was the Vancouver game. The guy seen the guy coming. As soon as he came back, he stopped. And I think it was Pedersen. Seen was the guy coming and was going to put him on the board. Put his back elbow up. You could see it visually. He put his elbow up before the guy got there. Now someone's going to say the gray area again. Oh, he was defending himself. So why'd you put a pitchfork out when the guy's coming? You know what I mean? It's a very interesting topic. You know what we should do? Just keep our eye on it when we're watching games.
Yeah, exactly.
And see where we see and where it goes. Because obviously I wasn't thinking of it before, but now that you've sent that to me, and I see it all the time, I just wasn't letting it. I go, that guy got away with one. You know how many times we've seen a game where you're like, oh, that guy took the worst of it, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, yeah.
So we weren't really, I don't know where you found this video.
My brother sent it to me.
Wow, Steven, good call out to you, because it's way more part of the game once it's pointed out, because you see it during the game. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Next. Okay, but now that it's brought to your attention, and obviously the person that made that video wanted to make it a, hey, look what's going on in the league. Because like I said, I wasn't even thinking about it. I seen 3 last night. 3 times. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great video. Just search up NHL reverse hits. It's about a 10-minute video.
8:01.
Yeah, there you go.
8:01. I watched it twice.
And the video ends with a great one where you see like one of those questionable reverse hits and it leads to a goal. So that kind of sums it all up right there.
There you go. That's why it was well edited.
Yeah.
And what time was that? 3rd period. Less than 10.
A game from like 10 years ago as
well.
well,
Yeah, but I mean, if you looked at the time on the clock, because they were very well edited. Look at the time, look at the score, look at the incident. Oh, look what happened. Very, very interesting. Whoever put it together, kudos to you. Was the NHL put that together?
No.
Just some...
There's some guy on YouTube.
I'm gonna look at him. Go look at him some more. Because it really... I'm so glad. Steven, so glad that you sent that out, because it's another nuance we learn about hockey that we can bring to the table at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So for our Saturday night pick'em last week, you beat me by 1 again. Now you're leading the series 8-9, or 9-8 rather.
But
I have the tiebreaker.
But
by quite a bit.
Don't even go there. Okay, I seen the numbers. This is like how I put it? It's like in the election. We got more of the popular vote, but we didn't get the seats. Like that kind of shit. You know what I mean? But in any event, we're going to keep our eye on a lot of things, and hockey's heating up. Hockey is heating up. I'm going to be very interested in finding out about the trade deadline.
Yes, that will be, I'm sure, a lot of our show next week. Of course, we march closer to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Okay, before we go, and I like what you asked this question, and we should ask it a week. What game are you looking forward to this week?
I don't even know.
I'm going to shock everyone that knows me. The most interesting game that I think that I really want to take a look at, because I want to be more interested, is Atletico Madrid.
Oh, Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. I think that's one of the games, and then on a world level too. Mm. I think that's going to be an interesting game. The other thing I want to give kudos to, but I haven't seen the whole schedule, the last games of the year in the SEC.
Okay.
There's 3 or 4 coming up this between Wednesday and Saturday. And remember, for those people, because we know violence and gambling runs the world, when you're going to be betting on some games, home teams senior day, that's worth a couple points. Ask Tennessee. They scraped by yesterday, but it's going to be quite interesting.
I'm going to say for me, Toronto, Colorado on Saturday.
That should be a good game. That's a litmus test for Colorado more than Toronto, right?
I would think so, but I mean, Toronto, you still want to come out there. Last year they did pretty well in Colorado, so hoping for a rematch.
Oh, it's in Colorado?
Yes, it is.
So
because they're in Vegas on Wednesday as well.
So is it a late game?
No, it's probably going to be 7 o'clock on Saturday.
Colorado will be pissed.
Oh, well, good for them.
Okay, so
they can understand.
Do you know what I didn't find out before we go? There's one thing I want to say. They had wrestling at the Dome last night.
Yes, they did.
40,000. Did you see that shenanigans?
I heard about it.
My son called me up because he's a junkie. I watched it for 10 minutes. Why does Billy Idol keep winning? I don't know the guy's name.
I don't know either.
He looks like Billy Idol to me. And you got to give The Rock credit because he just looks badass. He just bring him out. You seen Rock come out last night? This guy looked like, put him in an action movie, right? The way he was dressed and look was insane. But that's neither here nor there. They got 38,000 there last night. That's a good gate for the Dome. But what surprised me is, I want to know, and I don't know how to phrase this because I don't want to take it back because I already made that mistake with that gender comment I made earlier in the show. Didn't mean it to sound like that. But what went on at the Scotiabank Arena last night?
In regards to what?
No Raptors, no Leafs.
Okay.
Something had to go on at I meant to look it up. Something.
Oh, like what event was there?
What event was in there? I'm going to believe that it was...
Could just be a scheduling thing, like just
not a Saturday night in Toronto. I meant to do it before the show and I forgot. You're going to tell me a Saturday night on a GTA, you're going to let Scotiabank Arena stay empty? Look, in the summertime, there's somebody playing there on a Saturday night when nobody's playing there. So I'm going to say, check out your Italian singers. Is it Italian singer in town?
I don't know.
Did a Bollywood star come to town?
I don't know who was there.
A Greek singer?
I mean, there was something there, but in terms
I wonder what it is, and we'll find out by next week. Because when I realized that, because then I said to my son, "Oh, they're wrestling at the." That's what I said to him. I said they must be at Scotiabank because the Leafs and the Raptors aren't here. And he said, "Are you nuts, Dad? It's at the Dome. There's nearly 40,000." I went, "Whoa, you're kidding me!" Which is a money-making machine unto itself, eh?
Oh, sure.
What do I call it? The second worst reality show on television? Because it's got to be something worse. Oh, you should have seen they had barbed wire chairs. They had a chamber.
So last night was Elevation Workshop and Pastor Stephen Furtick.
Religious shit.
Yeah,
they were handing the bucket. Look at those religious guys. I thought they were those charlatans that left town. So this schmuck got in there and collected the hat for 20,000 at the Dome. At Scotia last night.
Well, who knows how much were in there? I don't know if it was 20,000. 15.
This guy don't make. Scotiabank ain't going to give you out to this for that. You got to guarantee them at least 15. Why would they even staff on?
Well, I've been to concerts at Scotiabank where like half it's like tarped off
because they didn't sell the seats or something like that.
No, but you open it up like that where it's like you basically are like we're gonna only like we're not even gonna try to sell out like this half or whatever. That's how it works. Yeah,
especially in the wintertime because you don't have any of the because then they could just move them to Budweiser or not. So care if they get the 10,000 or not, it's in there. But yeah, they have done that. And I think they did it for what concert? I remember. Could have been Perfect Circle or one of those bands. But that's interesting. I knew it had to be something. I thought it was going to be more of a cultural event. But I guess religion is a cultural event.
It is. There you go. Ready for trivia?
Yes, I am.
All right. Thank you, Stephen, once again. Who was the first Swedish player to record a 50-goal season in the NHL?
Kent Nielsen?
Yeah, that was going to be my guess, too.
Kent Nielsen?
And the answer is? Oh.
Wait, okay, I got one other guy. Hold on. He played for an American team, didn't he? Kent Nielsen. Hedberg. Or the other guy. Played for the Winnipeg Jets.
No.
Okay.
Hakan Lube, 1987-88 with Calgary.
Right. So what year did he get it?
87-88.
Wow. I bet you Ken Nielsen set him up for a lot of those goals because he played at the same time, I believe. You know, another one of the laziest hockey players I've ever seen in my life that I thought should have been a superstar and didn't go nowhere.
Who, Hakan Lube?
No.
Oh, Ken Nielsen?
Oh, Ken Nielsen was way better than Hakan Lube. He was great. You know, I got 50 goals. 12 of them were pure garbage goals. He wasn't a big guy. Wasn't a great shooter, right line. Because I think he had a big winger out there too, like a tough guy winger on that line, if I remember correctly.
Calgary teams?
Yeah, in the Calgary team. They had a big winger on that team. Oh, and a Canadian guy too. Anyways, it doesn't matter. That's an interesting, very interesting. We both went to Ken Nielsen immediately.
Yeah.
I forgot about Hakan, but I thought it might have been one of the guys that came when the Winnipeg Jets joined the NHL. There was like those two Swedish guys that played with Bobby Hull, but they came into the league. One of them ended up going to New York because they took them for the money.
Yeah. But
they were 40-goal scorers. I know they scored 40, but they didn't score 50.
Either way, we've been here for over 3 hours now. Great show, Cruz.
How did we get this far this long? Only because we're good.
Okay.
Have you got it out there? In any event, I want to thank, speaking of religious things, everybody have a good time with Ramadan.
Yes,
Can we
Ramadan.
say that? Happy Ramadan. Respect everybody the same because we're all equal. Anything else you'd like to bring to the table?
That's just about it. Just wishing everyone a happy week.
Yes, and a happy trade deadline. Lent is on Wednesday. And I have even though I'm not a religious guy, I'm going to give something up, and you're going to figure out what it is very quickly.
Not chocolate?
What?
Not chocolate?
Oh, come on. That's insane.
You did that before. Last year, wasn't it?
That was the dumbest thing I ever did in my life. That ain't happening ever again. Give up chocolate? Why don't you give up my right arm? I was suffering.
You could use Sundays as cheat days in Lent, though.
No, I don't believe that.
Because Sundays don't count as part of the 40 days.
That's what they say.
That is, if you count it.
Yeah, that's okay, because it's going to be that little bit more. No. Let's not talk about this. Do not take chocolate. Now, I don't eat chocolate every day, but I'm the world-class binge chocolate eater. I'll tell you how bad I am. The other night, I went into the store to get some cigars, and I looked down. King Cups. Peanut butter Reese. Not the little ones.
Yeah, the big ones.
The King Cups. I bought 3 packs. They get a half hour, 40 minutes. They're gone. They were gone. And I went to reach for it. It pissed me off. Should have bought 4. I went to reach for the pack, and I go, that one's empty too? How do they go so fast? Come on. It was only the first period of the goddamn game. I got no more Reese's Cups left.
Come on.
Hilarious.
Ugh.
We got a comedy show going on down there at Pittsburgh. But in any event, like I said, we've been going long enough. Thank you very much for being here. And once again, you provided us with some excellent information.
You too, sir. I will be listening to this game on the radio on the way home.
Good for you. In any event, once again, thanks for all the listeners that are out there. All the chat I get when I'm out in public. Please let us know. Just let me know when I come into the bar.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
My name's Andrew Milani.
And my name is Cruz.
What do?
We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.